Hi, I'm Karen Gillan, and you were listening to Traveling the Vortex. Woo!
We've joined the Doctor as he travels the Vortex and landed at episode number 220, where we've returned from Planet Comicon. I'm Keith.
I'm Sean.
I'm Glenn.
How are you guys?
Exhausted.
Yeah, me too.
It's still even 2 days. Oh, we can't even compare to you.
Yeah.
Sean and I cannot even compare to what you're experiencing right now. But
Yeah.
we've already been 1 full day back.
1 full day.
And I'm still tired.
2 full days
And
for you.
2 full days for me, yeah, because I wasn't there Sunday. So
It was a long, fun, but exhausting weekend.
It's that good exhausting.
It's a good exhausting.
we should explain why you were in worse
I'm
shape than we
I'm
are.
additionally tired because this week I started the overnight shift. So we are actually recording this 10 a.m. Tuesday morning.
I think this is the earliest we've ever
This
recorded
is the
a podcast.
first
With the exception
12
of maybe,
hours earlier than we've ever recorded a podcast.
With the exception of maybe breakfast updates we did at Gallifrey.
Well, yeah.
Those are side trips.
Yeah, side trips. So.
So
Yeah,
Okay,
so
the heavy early show
was at a con all day Sunday.
I got at the con probably 5 till 9. No, I'm sorry. It opened at 10, right?
yeah.
5 till 10. That means I got up at like 8:30 to get there by then. And then was up, aside from a short nap, maybe hour to 45 minutes, until about 8:30 the next day. And went to bed and barely slept. I got to the point where I was so exhausted I didn't sleep.
Because then you did another overnight last night and came here almost directly. You went home first.
Yeah. Pretty close.
We'll poke him with a stick occasionally, make sure he's still up.
I'll try not to snore.
And if he starts speaking gibberish, it's because his mind is mush at this point.
Yeah. You guys have a good con?
I did. It's exhaustion, but it's the good exhaustion. You know. Does anybody kind of wish the cons were like a couple extra days just so that you could wear all the cool t-shirts? You know, I've got this closet full of awesome t-shirts. I was like, I didn't get to wear that one this time. I was like, man, I kind of wish I could have worn that one. No, just me.
Just you.
Sometimes.
3 days. Truthfully, 3 days for a con.
Not so much for the t-shirt reason. It just felt like I could have done so much more at the con, and I wanted to do more and didn't get to.
You guys volunteer a lot, so you have to do all your conventioning in between volunteering. Yeah. I only volunteered for one thing this year, so. But for me, 3 days is even too much for me. I'm a good. If I can get a good full 2 days in, then I'm golden.
Depends on what's going on at the con, really.
And then this year I only got 1 day because I couldn't go back on Sunday. So
it's a mixed bag. So there's a part of me agrees with you because usually my galley's kind of the same way. I get to Sunday morning and it's kind of like another day of the con. I'm so done with this, and then you get in there and you're just kind of lackadaisical and you're wandering around aimlessly looking for something to kind of kick in. But then 2 hours before it's over, I'm frantically going, "Oh my god, I didn't get to see any of this yet." Same thing.
Yeah. We didn't stay till it even closed on Sunday. I think we left probably about an hour before it closed.
And we were there till well after an hour after close, but we were also packing up the booth.
Yeah.
Thanks for the help, guys.
It's all right. I need to go home and try to take a nap.
I could have packed it up Saturday, but then we wouldn't have a table on Sunday.
Well, it didn't help. Cody and Sam decided they were exhausted and they were going to leave early. They were supposed to go with us for all the birthday festivities.
Sunday you were also sticking around for the birthday stuff, so you needed to stay in Kansas City anyways.
And so they left early, and then we got back, and we realized as we were packing all this, like, why did we wind up with all this stuff? Oh, yeah, we had 2 extra sets of hands carrying in. So that haul back to the car sucked a little bit, but it was all right.
Well, we're going to get back to talking about the convention here pretty soon, but let's get some stuff out of the way real quick. We did not get any feedback this week. We're going to talk about what we did this week when we're talking about the convention. So I think the only other thing on our plate that we do want to get in is a Doctor Who Legacy
Tip of the Week.
And this comes from Eric. The Heal Enhance S perk is nice to have, especially if you are trying your hand at expert levels. Most guides you will find say that you should have it set automatically to heal 5% of max HP every turn, but sometimes you can do better. If you find that poison is a bigger problem than your debuff protection perks can handle, give one of your slots to a rank 5 companion with a poison cure ability and set Heal Enhance to 10% heal when abilities are used. The cooldown period for rank 5 poison cure is 1 turn. You do the math.
Ooh.
It's really handy because for every person that you use an ability on, you get that little extra bonus of health. So if you have waited, and everybody's, flashing, ready for abilities to be used, and you just tap through them and start using abilities. Sometimes I'll even use that Heal Enhance whenever I'm like on a character that I'm playing with that I wouldn't maybe even necessarily use the perk or use the ability. I'll go ahead and tap them because I'll get that little bit of extra boost of health too. So it's pretty
That's
helpful.
a good idea.
Pretty helpful. Well, thank you, Eric, and that's your Doctor Who legacy.
Tip of the week.
It's kind of weird doing that only a few minutes into the show.
We're trucking through on this.
And in case you're wondering, we didn't see any news either. So
Right.
there may have been some news, but we were so busy with the convention we missed it.
So we'll cover it next week.
Or write us emails and let us know if we missed something that you think we should discuss.
There was
Why
no
on
What's
news.
our opinion on?
Why on earth didn't you talk about this? This was the biggest news ever, and you missed it.
There
I didn't
was
see
no
there was
news this week.
There's another
Nothing happened.
top 10 list from Radio Times of since the show came back, but it was kind of what you expect.
Well, we are doing a Since the Show Came Back special next week, so we may talk about it then.
Yeah.
I say we may. In fact, every time I say we're going to talk about something later, it's going to include a may, because there's a lot of times that we say we're going to talk about something and we never revisit it again.
We don't write it down.
I'm sure listeners are going, they never came back to what they said they were going to talk about.
And that's why, listeners, you need to keep us accountable. Sometimes poke us with a stick and say, hey, you never talked about this.
We're going to get hundreds of feedback. Well, you didn't talk about this. But people go all the way back to episode 5. You didn't finish talking about this.
I prefer to leave them hanging with the idea that, yes, we're still planning to talk about it.
We'll get there.
You just have to keep listening.
That'll be an anniversary clip show one day. We'll go back and talk about everything we left hanging.
Left out.
Every dangling plot thread.
It's the duck pond for us.
Who was it that was on Twitter? Was it Dan? That was, or you weren't up.
I wasn't up.
I was the only person that joined in for Friday Night Who for the 11th hour because I was frantically trying to think
I was up, but I wasn't online. I just couldn't fall asleep.
I was frantically trying to think of things to talk to Caitlin about, so I thought, I'm going to watch this stupid episode so that I'm ready to go. That was a stupid episode. It's one of my favorites. But so I was there, and we were talking about the duck pond, and I think it was Dan. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dan. I think it was Dan who said, there's just, here comes the duck pond, and thousands of rabid fans going off about what the meaning of this is. And he says, I was like, yeah, one day they'll explain it. He says, no, it doesn't mean anything. It was just the setup for the duck pond joke when he crashes through the window with the ambulance, or with the ladder.
Right.
I had never thought of that. It wasn't until it was explained to me that I went, oh, there is that joke there,
the
isn't
thread
it?
was not left open. That was the whole
That
purpose.
was the whole purpose of it.
Nobody caught it.
But
Well, obviously Dan caught it. So
if that's the punchline to that joke, that's not a very good punchline. to
no,
that.
no. It's so simple that it's good.
It's like a Terry
and
Pratchett.
delayed.
Okay, so
It's like I'm going to hit you over the head with the setup. I'm going to hit you over the head with the setup. I'm going to hit you over the head with the setup. Yeah, there it is. It's
I decided not to do Friday Night Who because I had to work until 11. And so I was going to come home and pack and get everything ready for con. So I started packing at about 11:30, gathering everything up, putting everything together, and I got finished probably around 1-ish, 1:15 with everything. Sat down on the computer and started doing some just surfing the web, doing just the computer stuff that I do to wind down before I go to bed. And I was sitting there and I thought, I'm not very tired at all. And I had already done my Caitlin Blackwood preparation for the panel, and I had note cards full of stuff.
Yeah, thanks for the warning.
And so I told you last week that I had questions already.
You told me last week that I was going to ramrod it because you weren't doing anything.
And you're welcome that I did. And so I was sitting there, and I'm not really tired. I haven't seen 11th Hour in a while. So at 2 o'clock in the morning, I fired up 11th Hour.
You should have tweeted along to it.
I should have.
Friday Night Who.
It's only 45
Friday
minutes.
Night Who West Coast edition.
So at 3 o'clock, I'm going to bed going, oh, I'm going to be hurting tomorrow morning. So I watched 11th Hour 2 hours later than everybody else did.
I didn't watch it.
Should we talk about the convention we did this weekend?
It was Dan. I had to look it up.
I was trying to pull it up, and I couldn't.
Yeah,
Kansas City Comicon had its
Comicon.
Kansas City Planet Comicon. It's the whole full name. I think is Kansas. Well, it used to be though.
I don't think it's
they've
Kansas
dropped
City.
the
I think it's
Kansas
just
City,
Planet Comicon now.
So Planet Comicon was
in
this
Kansas
weekend
City.
in Kansas City, and the three of us attended. And do you know what year is this? Do you know?
For the no,
Do you know?
I don't. This is my 7th straight and 4th straight volunteering, but I don't know how many has been going on before that.
I got to thinking about it, and I thought I
4th
had
straight volunteering.
I thought this was my 8th year, but this is my 7th year because the first year that I went, you were there, but I don't think we ended up hooking up because you came while we were still in line, and then you had tickets from someplace, and so you gave me tickets, and I got Caitlin and I in, and then.
Yeah, I don't remember.
But we didn't end up hooking up. That was before Keith was even around. I don't know, not around. You're around, but
Yeah, I was off doing other stuff.
yeah. So,
It was before you were important.
Yeah.
but anyway, so
I think this was my 5th.
probably yeah.
Yeah.
So 7 years for Sean and I, and 5.
Pretty
for
much as long as
Keith.
Sarah and I have been together. We've been going.
Yeah,
It was we were like
'cause you guys
a
went
month.
the first year together, right?
Yeah, we were like a month in.
All the way back
when
in
we
the
went.
Jeremy Bullock days.
Yeah. Because it was 2 at Bartle Hall, or 2 at the old place, and now 3 at Bartle
3
Hall.
at Bartle Hall.
Did Sarah come the year that you guys went? We went, and Jeremy Bullock was there.
Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't remember that. I remember her being there the year that Billy D was there because
Yeah.
her and Caitlin went and got their faces painted.
Yeah. I don't know how much we walked around with you there though. I think we kind of went off on our own most of the time because
So
a month in.
Actually, I take that back. This is only our 3rd year volunteering. You're right.
Because we've only volunteered at Bartle Hall.
We didn't do it the
and we've only volunteered years that we've had panels. We've only had 3 panels.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
Oh, it was only the second year I went that we discovered other Whovians.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
that's
the
right.
Kansas City
well,
Town, which is
that
how
was
you-
the first year they had a TARDIS there.
Yeah, because the
second
very, very first year, all that we could find Doctor Who-wise was that little thingy I got.
The email cube. Oh no, the email cubes were there that year though, weren't they?
No, not that I remember.
Oh,
But that little, I can't remember what it's called, but it's little round circles that you put together to make shapes, and it's a TARDIS.
oh, the pixel art. The
kind of
they're
pixel.
beads.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
little beads
yeah,
that
those
they melt
things.
together and
Yeah.
and it makes.
Oh,
pixel
those
art.
things.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the year after that, we saw cosplayers,
That's
and
right.
it started actually seeing some representation.
Well, and
now you go
wasn't-
through any
it wasn't-
table and you see Doctor Who stuff.
it wasn't until I was in line for Jeremy Bullock that I even remembered that he was
Oh, yeah.
Doctor Who connected. All right. Well, yeah. Anyway, so
Quite the change to this year.
Yeah.
yeah, there was
There's
a lot of Whovians.
whole lot. In
presence
fact, there was
this
the Doctor Who shop had their own booth
Yeah,
this
yeah.
year, which I don't think they'd come before, right? This was their first year at the con?
I think so.
DoctorWhoshop.com.
I think you're right. It was the first time I'd ever seen them. So if they were in the past, I missed them last time.
Yeah.
And the Whovians of Wichita had a booth this year.
In conjunction with Time Eddy.
Yeah.
Promoting that convention.
They're also doing a big, I don't remember the name of the
it's
specific cosplay group.
Oh, yeah. I saw it on Facebook.
Was it Cosplayers of Kansas City or something like that?
No, it's a Wichita one, too.
Oh, was it Wichita?
Yeah, it's tied in
Because
with Whovians
Cosplayers of
Wichita.
Kansas City was there as well.
Yeah, it's like cosplay of Gallifrey, Wichita, something along those lines.
Oh,
The
okay.
idea
I missed
is,
that booth.
yeah, the idea is that, well, it was part of Whovians of Wichita.
Oh, it
That's
was,
why they were
okay.
in the cosplay area.
I got you.
Excuse me, my allergies are kicking in, so I'm froggy. Excuse me. But apparently their plan is that the dedicated cosplayers within the Whovians of Wichita are trying to kind of network out. And
Cosplay Gallifrey, Wichita.
Cosplay Gallifrey, because apparently there's a cosplay Gallifrey. That's hard to say.
Cosplay
Gallifrey. There's one of those in like Charlotte, North Carolina, and there's one in,
so it's kind of a 501st where
exactly. And so they're trying to network together worldwide. And they're going to start off with just the Midwest, but they're trying to network together across America all of the cosplay Gallifreys and kind of get them all into the same boat with people who do Doctor Who
Keith,
stuff.
You need to join. You're a cosplayer.
Yeah.
You haven't cosplayed in a few years.
Yeah. Since we moved to Bartle Hall. Although I was thinking about it, I might actually start cosplaying again now that kind of the ebb of Matt Smith 11th Doctor cosplayers have kind of died down a little bit. There's not so much saturation. I have to try to look into doing
you're one
that.
of those, huh?
Yeah,
you only cosplay when Matt's not cool anymore.
I did it before he was cool and hipster.
I had the greatest...
The Mr. Clever one that you posted was a really cool and a really neat way to do it.
Yeah.
I had the greatest cosplay
Although it was
moment.
the wrong outfit.
Huh?
Wasn't he wearing the brown tweed?
I don't remember exactly what he was wearing, but I'd still give him props. Even if it wasn't accurate, I'd still give him props.
It's still really clever.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be one of those.
Yep.
I had the greatest cosplay moment, probably the whole con, and it wasn't. There was a guy who was cosplaying as the Second Doctor with his lady friend, and they were in the cantina area where they were just sitting down. I don't know what she was. She was just a woman who was with him, and
lady friend.
She was going to go get food or something, and he had taken a phone call. And whatever was going on the phone call, he was pretty animated about it and trying to, a work thing. I wasn't eavesdropping, just, catching bits and pieces of words. Well, she was going to get food for them. So she came back and was kind of doing that, hey, can you give me, the wallet and I'll go get this. And he's on the phone trying to pay attention to this. And I'm sitting at the table across the way. I'm not part of this. But he's kind of waving the hand and doing this thing. And then finally he realizes who it is and what she wants. And so he reaches into his interior coat pocket to get his money out. And the first thing to come out is a recorder. And then a bag of something. I don't know what it was. And then something. And he just kept pulling things out of his pocket while he's on the phone. And then finally got to the money, handed it to her, and started putting everything back in. And it was such a Second Doctor moment. I died laughing. And I kept wanting to go over and tell him, dude, that was unintentional, but it was awesome. Thank you for making my day. And he never got off the phone. That was a long phone call. But it was just, that pocket had to have gone all the way down to his shoe, as much stuff as he pulled out of it.
Transcendental jump pockets.
Yeah, a lot of good cosplay this year.
There was a lot I missed there that I didn't see until after the fact. Like the War Doctors that you posted. I never saw those.
I did the same thing. I was going through pictures that people had posted online or on Twitter, and I was going, how did I miss this? How did I miss this?
There was an original series.
To being in a photo booth for a while.
There was an original series, Battlestar Galactica Cylon there.
Yeah, I
Not
saw
the
that
iBot one, but and I was like, I didn't get to see that.
If you saw the pictures, the Groot, phenomenal.
Yeah, Groot was cool.
And then there was also a baby Groot.
Yeah, I saw your picture of
and he would dance,
Groot.
And they had the music going. And the full size Groot won Best in Show costume contest for male competition. So well deserved. It was really, really well done.
It was. I would have believed that was Groot walking around.
Yeah,
so well done.
Oh, and that's the other thing that you would see a lot of at the booths. Aside from Who, is Guardians of the Galaxy very much dominated the convention this year.
I saw a lot of
art, a lot of toys.
Didn't see Gamora's though, did you?
I saw some. Did
you? There were one of the girls here from
Topeka
came as a Gamora. I didn't actually see her, but I saw photos of her online, so I knew she was there running around as Gamora. I saw a lot of Jason.
Star-Lord?
Yeah, Star-Lord. Star-Lord, man! Peter Quill. I want Jason Bourne for some reason. I don't know. I saw a lot of Peter Quills. I saw a lot of Star-Lords. I didn't see any Drax.
I didn't see any either. Several rockets.
And several rockets.
I saw some rockets. In fact, we had a rocket come by our booth.
Yeah.
And his dad was dressed as the Swedish chef. Yeah. I love that one.
There was also some other...
I don't know how the theme goes together, but...
Yeah, it's just...
In an interesting turn of events... Eric from Red Dalek.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know his last name was Collins?
Yeah. Yeah. We were discussing this as we left.
So he sends me a Facebook friend request. Eric Collins wants to be your friend, and I'm like, I'm already friends with my brother. What did he do? Did he delete his... And I went and clicked on the thing and went and looked at this picture and went, he's sitting in a captain's uniform in an Enterprise chair. That's not my brother. Who the hell is this? Oh, it's Eric. Okay. I had no idea that was his name.
Sarah, after I befriended Eric, she saw that Eric liked something I posted or commented on something and didn't look that closely, and she goes, I didn't know you were friends with Sean's brother. And I go, I'm not. That was that's the guy who's in charge of Red Dalek.
Didn't occur to me until we were talking about
I was
when we were
telling
leaving.
him that story.
And he goes, because Eric Collins in my head has always been Red Dalek, Eric Collins. And so it wasn't until we were talking about it that I recalled one time looking at Facebook, seeing a post from Eric Collins that had no relation to Red Dalek or anything else, and me thinking, when did I friend Eric? When did I friend Sean's brother? So we all had a Sean's brother moment.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Or maybe not. I don't know. My brother's a nice guy. You should friend him. But
I don't think I've met him.
He was there doing original series Star Trek. He did his Kirk. And
Red Dalek.
Red Dalek. Not my brother. My brother did not come to Planet Comicon. But Red Dalek's Eric was there as original series Kirk. And he made the comment that there was supposed to be a Star Wars group photo that they were really putting a lot of effort into. And for whatever reason, there was
Star Trek?
No, Star Wars.
Because I saw the Star Trek group photos.
There was apparently not an abundance of Star Wars cosplayers this year. And I got to thinking about it. I think I only saw 2 Mandalorians and 1 legitimate Boba Fett. And that was about it. I'm sure they were out there. I saw a couple of Jedi and a couple of... But they didn't have much. In fact, apparently the Star Trek cosplayers vastly outnumbered the Star Wars cosplayers this year. So they switched into the Star Trek group photo. And so he had to gather up his friends, and they all ran over there to go do that. And
I wonder how much of that was spurred because of Leonard Nimoy's passing.
Could be.
It could be.
A nice way to remember him.
We also did not have a Star Wars guest at all this year.
We did not.
The first time in many
technically we
Kansas City
did.
Comic-Cons.
Technically we had 2. If you count Sam Witwire and Adrian What's-Her-Face. Because Sam was the apprentice in Force Unleashed.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Technically.
That's
EU.
That's not his. Yeah, no, you're right. But
voice acting.
Well, he mocapped it too.
Oh, did he mocap it?
Yeah, it's his face.
But he's also...
he's being human. And
so
I think
other
big things.
That was kind of...
It's not his claim to fame.
Yeah, there was kind of a footnote. His Star Wars involvement was more of a footnote. Whereas we've had at least, even an actor who's there, like Peter Mayhew
Lando,
or Jeremy Bullock or...
Lando.
Billy D. Williams.
Billy.
Well, even costume...
Who was last year?
Even costume characters, they bill them as Star Wars as, so-and-so. Even last year, I think we had a couple last year, but last year we had John Ratzenberger.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he was Cliff Clavin to me, but they were really billing him as, in Superman and Star Wars and
Pixar.
Yeah. So. But we did have a rather main Trek guest this year with
Garrett Wong.
Yes, Garrett Wong.
Who's the nicest guy in the world. He is so friendly and warm and has not aged a day since Voyager. At least since the end of Voyager. He was really, really, really young when Voyager started. But he looks pretty much exactly as he did on the last episode of Voyager.
Well, and the guy who was next to him from Once Upon a Time, wasn't he on Star Trek on an episode?
He did. He did an episode of Voyager as well. Raphael Sabarge. Yeah, I got it right. In fact, Garrett was the moderator for Raphael's panel.
Oh, nice.
Because they work together. And apparently they're good friends, too. So
I think next year will be different, though. We'll have a lot of Star Wars cosplay next year after the film comes out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and I already saw that this was the first year that I'd seen it in St. Louis, but the custom lightsaber booth was there.
Yeah.
And
they look like Force Effects lightsabers.
Yeah, and they're that quality.
Yeah.
But you can customize them and make them how they want, and you can make them they make them right in front of you.
Right.
And they were selling the broadsword lightsabers.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, as many as the people who was walking, it was kind of like the first year when we were at Gen Con and the Master Effects lightsabers came out, and everybody walked out of that building with one of those boxes.
Yep.
As many as they sold, they'll be back next year.
Oh, yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind.
And the interesting thing is there's obviously no license. They don't have a license from Lucasfilm because all of their sabers or their swords, light swords, are named like kind of cleverly. Like the Chosen One was Vader's. Obviously Vader's saber, and you could get it in either blue or red.
Yeah.
And then, so they had all of the different styles. In fact, the hilts looked exactly like the Force Effects sabers for the particular ones, but they were all cleverly named so that they could get around the licensing issue. So
I didn't look too closed. Closely. How were they priced compared to those?
About the same, because my first thought was I got excited because I thought
removable. You can remove the blades on these, which is different.
I got excited because I thought, they don't have to pay the license fee, so I can actually get a Force Effects-ish lightsaber now and not pay like I have to pay for Force Effects lightsabers. And then I went up there and started pricing them. And the base price for one that you don't do any customization at all was $70. And then it went up there.
I think that's about how much I paid for Yoda.
Yeah, so it ranged from $70 all the way up to $100. I think the most expensive one I saw was $140 something.
I think it's the same company, but I'm not totally sure because I've kind of been haunting them online for a while. Because of the fact that you can do a removable blade and you can do
the same company you've been looking at.
I think it's the same company. And if I fully trick one out the way that I want it with the sound effects card and the different color and the this hilt and this blade and blah blah blah, and it still has all the bells and whistles, it's about a $600 purchase. Yeah. So that's why I haven't pulled the trigger on it. It's like,
and they're not all Star Wars. They had like a Thundercats hilt, and they had so they had several different varying hilts that you could do as well. So let's start on Friday. Let's just kind of walk through it because you guys actually went Friday. I had to work because we have a rule at work where if Keith's off, I can't be off, vice versa. So Keith took off this time and went on Friday. And you guys went up. Did you guys do volunteer orientation?
I kind of did. Personalized crash course because volunteer orientation was actually Thursday night.
Oh, that's right.
And so I didn't take that off because I didn't know about it in advance. So, well, I did, but not far enough in advance. So I didn't get to go to that. How was orientation?
Kind of rushed. We joined up in the middle of a tour because we did not arrive. I mean, they started at like 6:30, and it's like, dude, some of us had to work, and then we've got to drive in. So we kind of joined up with a tour already in progress, but they just kind of took us around the facilities and showed you all the cool back ways to get to
Well, that's the nice thing.
The grand ballroom.
The main ballroom was how much? Would you say twice as big? Maybe three
to almost 4.
It's 3,000 people.
Pretty easily.
Yeah.
And
you could fit all of Galley in the grand ballroom.
And so it was in a completely different area, and so it gave us a completely different way to get to it, which was for some of the bigger guests, like when I escorted the Red Rangers, it was really nice because we were just able to go down these escalators and there was no one around to try to weave through the crowd or anything. It was really nice.
Yeah. But yeah, so there was kind of dealing with the mechanics of the logistics of how to get around the building. That was the interesting part of it. But and then ironing out some of the interesting security features because you go down that escalator when you're escorting guests that goes down. They've got a separate green room, and then you're going to go down behind the ways to the actual dressing room before you go into the grand ballroom. And then finding out that, no, your badge does not get you down that escalator.
You've got to have a certain special lanyard.
Well, that was even a last-minute thing.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, because they were like, we security had been given this set of rules, and the con had been told this, and then Mel and we were going to go and recap it just because she was going to be down in the dressing room. That was her main volunteering thing, was that she was kind of in charge of that.
And there was a green room and then a dressing room.
Right.
2 different areas.
So, we went down to make sure that she knew the path to get there, and security was adamant. You're not getting down here with that badge. You're not important enough. We're escorting panelists later. We have guests that we have to get to. Kelly, but they got it worked out very, very quickly, and fixed all the problems. So
yeah, they were very quick to any problem that would pop up. They were able to get onto it very, very quickly, and that's just another testament to Super Kirk and Super Kelly.
Super Kirk and Super Kelly.
Because Kelly deserves just as much recognition as Kirk gets about all of it, because she's the one who's more in charge of the volunteers. And Kirk,
she is the volunteer coordinator.
She's the volunteer coordinator.
Kirk takes care of the panels and all of that stuff, but
he's the panel coordinator.
Yes, exactly. So she does such a good job of organizing everybody and making sure everybody's where they need to be, and if additional people are needed, finding them and doing everything needed. She does such a good job.
She needs to delegate more.
So what did you guys do on, what else did you guys do on Friday? What did you guys see on Friday?
We walked the floor a little bit before we started, because we got there, and then walked the floor until, at least my first responsibility was escorting the Red Rangers down to their panel, which we ended up getting there a little bit early. And the backstage area, there's an elevator that for those with wheelchairs, so they can get up on the stage. The two of them started goofing around with it. Tried recording videos of them trying to go up, and they finally got it up all the way, but then they couldn't go off onto the stage because the other door wouldn't open. And they were quite a hoot to watch goof around. And not being a big Power Ranger fan, and I didn't realize one of them had never seen before, but I didn't realize one of them was the Red Ranger from the movie. He was the one that took over after the first year. And so that was kind of cool that I kind of put that together, because I ended up sitting in on their panel just because, I got to take them back anyways, so I might as well. And they did a really enjoyable panel, especially if you're... Unfortunately, the bad thing about it was the first panel of the con in a brand new room. So it was the middle section, pretty much. That was it. It wasn't very full, maybe couple hundred people, if that. So I felt kind of bad for them that they had the first panel and not big of a turnout. And I think they were hoping for more. And then other than that, I walked more and sat at the volunteer desk and helped Kelly wherever she needed it. Not really did much, because by that time it was near the end of the day and all fires had been put out, and it was kind of relaxing.
Mel and I hit the con floor hard and early Friday. And the initial plan was, okay, Friday, because all of our responsibilities are going to come later, at about 2 o'clock. So we're going to hit the floor, and we're going to get all of our autographs, and we're going to be done with it. Nobody's at the con when it opens at 10 a.m.
Yeah,
none of the celebrities are there, and it's like, oh, well, I guess we'll go shopping first, and then
Well, come 12 o'clock, I was like, should we maybe go get autographs? And then it occurred to me until later, I wanted to wait to get Caitlin until after we did our panel. None of my guests were there yet. I was going to get Jay August and Ming Na Wen. They both were Saturday, and Jay August was late Saturday. So I ended up not buying a single thing on Friday. I paid for parking, and that was it.
I didn't pay for parking, interestingly enough, on Friday. We got down there early enough. Apparently, we got the you must work here parking pass thing at the garage that they gave us. They gave me this little ticket, and I went in to give the thing. And then when we went to leave at the end of the night, I was expecting to pay at the end of the night. All the gates were up because it was just, and I was like, okay.
You were working.
I was working, But, no, so we did a fantastic artist alley this year. A lot of really good and bigger than ever. I know that there was there's some flap apparently as to whether or not the professional cosplayers really bring anything to a con from the standpoint of some of the other people that come to the con. I heard that there's apparently a schism, not just with Planet Comicon, but in general, as to whether or not do we need to invite those people. And
they bring an avenue of conversation and panels. Now, I could see the argument that they don't really bring the avenue of revenue.
Well, yeah, but it's interesting because they had more comic book artists this year than they've ever had, which I think was evident by the size of that room. And that's what all the pictures get taken of, is the cosplayers. So I think it's kind of hand in hand. It's
a more recent thing that the cosplayers have become a professional entity.
Yeah. Like
Chloe Dykstra or Abby Darkstar and all those. That's a very recent trend. And I think they're still trying to figure out how best to utilize them.
That's probably it. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a part of me that thinks it's absolutely ridiculous that you can be a professional cosplayer. You get to have Halloween every day? What does that exactly mean? What do you get paid to do? So I don't quite get it.
Look at Athena Stamos. That landed her the character design for Cinder in Doctor Who Legacy. So...
Yeah, so there's a part of me that doesn't quite get it. I'm not going to complain. They're there, and if people are happy to see them, bring them in. It doesn't bother me at all. So
it's like going to one of the Wizard Cons, and there are YouTube stars there. They bring people in. Not who I would go to see there, but
someday we will be a YouTube star. Someday. But yeah, so we wandered around, and Mel got a bunch of new art commissioned, and then we started our official volunteering gig was for Orlando Pagan, who is an artist who he does all the body paint for like WWE, and anytime you see anybody in one of the wrestling fields that's got other than Sting, who does his own, it's terrible. You don't watch wrestling.
No,
I'm just peripherally aware of it, but I noticed this and went, wow, you should have had somebody do that, buddy. He uses latex and he puts it on himself, and so it's completely obliterated 5 minutes into the match because he's sweating, pieces are peeling off of it and stuff like that. But any of the body painted people you see on any of the wrestling events, Orlando's done them. He's also worked for Universal Studios. Anything. Have you been down to? Did you go to Harry Potter World after they put Diagon Alley in?
No, we did not.
He is responsible for pretty much all of Diagon Alley. That's all his painting and work, and he did the night bus and all that kind of stuff. So he painted all that. Fun story. Apparently, the night bus he went to. They had to do a touch up or something, and they called him up and said, "Can you come down and repaint it?" He's like, "Yeah, no problem." So he went to. He says, "Okay, I need this, and this." And he's like, "No, you're going to go talk to the paint guy. We have a paint shop. You go talk to the paint guy. They'll get you taken care of." So he goes to the paint shop and he says, "I need the purple and the this and the this." And the paint guy's going, "You mean the red?" He says, "No, night bus is not red. It's purple." He says, "No, it's red." And they had this huge argument. And one of the other guys in the paint shop kind of motioned Orlando, called him over, and he says, "He's colorblind. He can't see that." So the guy who's in charge of the paint shop at Universal Studios, colorblind. So that was fun for him. Anyway, but Orlando was doing a live body paint demonstration, which was going to take up about 3 hours. To get it all,
Yeah, you were gone for quite a while.
His attention to detail is pretty miraculous and amazing. But so that's what Mel and we did. We were monitors, just kind of keeping tabs on the room and the situation, because there's the not safe for work
18 and over crowd.
18 and over crowds. We had to make sure, but security was really all over that. We had an awesome security guard she stationed herself at that door, and she was checking for IDs and badges and the whole bit. And so we kind of got to, very easily, monitor just, people trying to sneak photos or anything. But the crowd was pretty well behaved. So, didn't have any problems with that.
So was that all you guys did?
That was the only thing we did Friday. But yeah, it was a 3 hour block. So, but it was cool. And I posted a couple of photos online after I got first of all, I got Orlando's permission, and then I got the model's permission, because it's like,
it's impressive.
Did I post this or not? So. It was Venom, which took forever for me to realize. They kept talking about Venom in comic books, and of course, I know of Venom. My only real experience with Venom is Spider-Man 3, so I don't know that it really counts. But she came out, and she had the head thing on, and I just kept thinking, we're doing some tribal, witch doctor or something. I don't know, and he's painting her face and around her neck, and this teeth necklace and everything. And then all of a sudden, I realized that that's Venom's mouth, and he's got the tongue snaking down her, and I was like, oh! And then once you saw it, it was like, okay, now But up until that moment, I just kept looking at it going, I don't quite get where you're going here, Orlando. But yeah, then all of a sudden it all came together. It was like a Bob Ross. You watch Bob Ross paint, you're just like, what are you doing, Bob? Why did you put that ugly dead tree in the middle thing? Oh. So
how many autographs did you guys knock out on Friday?
Not too many. I think we only did... Well, no, that's not true, because the con was open to 7 on Friday, and everybody went home at 5, like the
crowd.
Normal crowd kind of people. And so we did wind up knocking
Friday
out.
was pretty slow in general, but part of it was the con expanded so much, even the floor, that the same amount of people of last year's Friday, and that would have felt like less people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it really felt fairly slow on Friday.
Yeah, which, it's still saying something, because it's still busy. Still a lot of people, but just because of the added space they had, and Friday always being a slightly lesser day, Yeah. It wasn't bad. But yeah, we actually did do some autograph hunting after the thing, and we wound up knocking, I think, everybody that we wanted out except for like 4. I think we had 4 people that and we didn't have to wait too long in lines, too, at that point, because it was...
It's really good.
It was not bad. Michael Rooker's, I think, was the longest one we waited in Friday. And he's a hoot. He's an absolute goofball. And he's one of those guys that goes out and photobombs people and, just whatever he can get away with. He was a lot of fun. And he's always wearing his apparently con standard uniform is baseball cap, shades, and leather jacket. That's Michael Rooker. If you ever go to a con, that's what he'll be wearing. So that was cool. And then we did carry outways, and stood in line. And they had him kind of boothed off a little separately.
Yeah, I walked past his section. It was interesting because it was like they had a tent set up around him.
Yeah,
which was kind of weird to me.
Apparently, Carrie is very.
It wasn't really a tent. It was curtained off.
Curtained off. Yeah, there was no top to it, but it was.
Right. It felt like a tent.
It looked like a tent because it's like the red
and white stripes.
Yeah,
white and red and white.
Oh, and all the other autograph tables are just there in front of a curtain instead opposed to all four sides.
Carrie feels very strongly that he wants to be able to connect individually with people as they come up, and he doesn't feel he can do that if he's on one side of a table in front of a mass crowd. So they had him curtained off, and you would go in, and he wasn't at the table. He was standing out in the middle portion of the booth, and he would walk up and shake your hand and talk to you for a minute and sign your thing, and then it was like an extra $10 if you wanted a photo with him. So you got all that. I mean, he was very personal, very friendly.
So really, you got
nice.
a one-on-one encounter with him, more than anybody else would, like more than any other guest you have.
Very much so.
Once you told me about that, I was like, oh, that's kind of neat.
It was really cool. Because from the outside it feels kind of standoffish, but that's not the way it is at all. So that's kind of one of those things I wish, if I could do one thing, I would tell people, go stand in Carrie Always line because it's totally worth it. It was the Carrie Always experience is what they ought to, bill that as. But it was really cool. And just, Mel was all giddy and butterfly and, everything. And I kind of wish I'd have bought his book now. I kind of wish it's still one that I plan on reading at some point in time, but I could have had him autograph that too.
Yeah.
But so we got out and looked at the photo. I don't know why we didn't check it, but she had blinked in the photo. So then we were like, oh, now we got to come back and redo this. And we didn't have our shirts on anyway, but I'll get to the shirt story later. But I think that was about it for Friday.
Yeah.
Long day. Cody, man, they ran Cody ragged on Friday. That kid, they had him for everything. And he was, so I don't think he got to do anything on Friday. But he made up for it on Sunday for sure.
So then Saturday, what time did you get there?
I don't know, 8 early.
And you got there 10:15-ish?
Quarter. Well, I didn't get in until 10:15, but it was quarter. I arrived. If this was any indicator of what how big this con was this year is. I pulled up about the same time I did last year, about 9:15 or 9. I got in town about 9:30. Rolled up onto Central Street, which is where Bartle Hall is, at 9:45, and stayed in the right lane because I knew I was going to go past Bartle Hall and then turn into the parking lot, the parking garage. And I got there, and there's a big old sign that says "Garage closed" or "Garage full," and I thought, oh. There's a lot of people here because that is a large parking garage. It is. And so I thought. So then I had one of several large parking garages. I had one of those moments of panic because I was like, I don't know of any other garages. I don't know where I'm going to park. So I just stayed. I stayed in the line because they were all going. I thought, God, most of these people have to be going to Planet Comicon. So I just follow. So I got in this line, and we got up to not the next street, but the street after that, and we turned left. And as we were turning, we were waiting in line, and it was just traffic jam all the way around this block. And I thought, well, all these people are trying to get to the same place, so I'll just stay in this line. And there was a guy that was walking on the sidewalk, and apparently he knew the people in the car behind me because I heard him telling them, oh, yeah, there's a garage right around this block, right next to the Folly Theater. And he said it's $10, which is, I think, is what the admission for the other garage was. He says, $10 cash. They'll let you park in there, no problem. It's event parking. I was like, okay, good. Now I know where I'm going. So, yeah, I stayed in this line. And it literally took another probably 20 minutes to finally get around this block and in to the garage. So I got in, I got parked, and it was only about a block and a half away from Bartle Hall, so it wasn't bad. So I actually got really lucky. And so I walked down, and I went upstairs, and I still had to pick up credentials. And so as I came in, they kept trying to guide me into the big old giant long snaking line that was there for just people picking up credentials. This wasn't even the line for people.
This was getting your
This was
wristband.
prepay people.
Yeah.
This wasn't even people that were paying that day to get in. And they kept trying to wind me into that line, and I volunteer after volunteer, I kept saying, I need to go get volunteer credentials. And said, well, go this way, follow this line. So I keep following the line. Finally, I got to a volunteer where I said, I'm going to be in this line forever, but I'm just volunteering. And he goes, oh, well, come here. He said, why over to the side? He says, just walk up the side. I was like, well, if the fifth person back and volunteer back had told me that, I would have known.
Yeah.
So I got out of line and went down the side because I could see the volunteer booth. I knew where I was going. It was just there was this mass of people. And so I went down and got checked in, got my volunteer, and then I went and I walked the floor. Because the only volunteering responsibility I had this year, because knowing that I was for sure only going to be in there Saturday and wasn't sure I was going to be there Sunday, was our panel. And so I got up, got that. So my first thing to do was I went in, as you guys did, and walked the floor. That was my first thing. And so I walked up and down until I ran into... Did I run into you first, or I ran into you first?
We didn't run into each other until after Time and Wyoming.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So, okay, that's what it was. So I walked around, found our table. Matt Quick is who I ran into first. And then I hung with him for a little bit, walked the floor, kind of scoping out the things I wanted to purchase. Because that's what I do is I'll go and I'll walk the floor and I'll say, that's something I might buy, that's something I might buy. And then I go back later to
see if you find something better.
Exactly, exactly. Because, I've got a budget. I don't have a lot of cash. And so...
I had a budget.
But you blew past that.
Oh,
budget.
yeah.
Right past the cap. So the first thing that I ended up actually doing was Mike Horner's Timey-Wimey Puppet Show. So that was one of my must-do.
How was it?
Oh, it was...
I actually got to sit in on it this time.
And, it was... He's
so good.
He's completely
So enjoyable.
revamped the show, so it's different this year. And I should say I saw the first 45 minutes of it because our panel was right after in the same room, but I want to make sure I was in place ahead of time so that I can introduce myself to Caitlin and make sure we were all set, which come to find out later didn't matter. But did Timey-Wimey, and then of course stuck around for our panel. That's when I texted Keith to find out where he was, and he came down to Timey-Wimey and watched the show.
So I made a point of coming down to Timey-Wimey because Sarah and her brother came and they weren't very interested. Mike's not a Whovian, so they were going to walk the floor, and they wound up coming down anyways about halfway through what we saw. And Sarah fell in love with Timey-Wimey. She got there just in time for the Awesome Canine song.
Oh,
and
cool.
the Awesome Canine bit. So she was all about that. She's not one to really go up to booths and people and talk to them about what they've done. She made a point of going to his booth to talk to him, tell him how great it was, and see how he got Canine to work. So that's a huge praise for Mike. That she would even go do that.
Well, that was the cool thing is that new this year was Canine. He had a 12th Doctor puppet this year. I can't remember did he have the Cat Nun before?
No, I think Cat Nun's
Okay,
new,
so
too.
she was
So that
new.
would have been added to the opening song then.
Yeah. And the only thing that was familiar from years past, there were certain things that were shadows of what he had done before. So it was reminiscent, but it was changed enough that it was new. But the opening song, the time where he has half the room do Timey-Wimey, 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 the other half does Puppet Show. And so that was the only thing that was the same. But then the cat puppet, the cat nun sings meow meow meow. So that was kind of funny. So he had a lot of new elements, and we missed like the last 10 minutes or something. I don't even think it was 10 minutes because by the time we walked around, they were already done.
Yeah.
So we walked out. Keith and I met up. We walked out, walked around the back way to get to backstage. And as we were walking down that hallway that's behind the curtain, between the windows and the curtain, people were already filing out. So we saw the majority of the show. So, and then of course our panel with Caitlin.
We really wanted to see it, but Mel was again doing volunteer duty back in the dressing room. So she was backstage for the grand ballroom most of the day on Saturday. and I had a couple of little things that I had to do, and then the big one was obviously our panel. So I kind of was back and forth checking on her and some other things, and then apparently there was the huge fiasco of Saturday was Jerry Lawler, whose panel was supposed to start at noon. Apparently his plane got delayed. And so there was this, everybody freaking out and trying to figure out what was going on. And they had people stationed at different street corners outside the building with signs, Jerry, drive this way, Jerry, drive this, so they could get him. Because the plan was they were going to pull him all the way around to the South Dock, get him through that side door and up on stage. That was, you're not even going to get a bathroom break, dude. You're just going right up on stage because the panel time is ticking off. And, yeah, Matt was part of that. He apparently, carried his suitcase in for him. He's actually got Jerry Lawler's luggage, Let me grab that for you. But
and then he showed up like a half hour late to the panel.
Yeah, I think he only got maybe 20 minutes of panel time because of how late the flight and everything was. But Victor's the head of all the audio video stuff for Planet Comicon. And he was just a basket case, and he kept seeing people down at the end of that long back hallway going, "Oh, maybe that's him." And Mel's like, "Dude, that ain't Jerry Lawler." Because her dad was a big wrestling fan. She was like, "I know Jerry Lawler. I've been watching Jerry Lawler for years. That's not Jerry Lawler. Maybe that's him. That's not Jerry Lawler. Trust me. You'll know when it's Jerry Lawler." And then Jerry Lawler showed up, and they went, "Oh, there's Jerry Lawler." Who's also a very nice guy.
So Mel got to see a lot of the celebrities, if not meet them.
Yeah, she pretty much intermingled with all of the big ones that came back.
Nice.
That's one of the, because we're people who know people. But we're also relatively reliable. I dropped the ball on Sunday, but I'll get to that story in a moment.
What else did I do on Saturday after our panel? Which we actually have a special treat for our panel. We're not even going to talk about our panel because you're going to listen to that at the end of this podcast. But we were crashed by a very special guest. That's all I'll say. Yes. If you've seen the pictures online, you know who it was. But that was a pretty cool experience. And then,
especially for those of us who didn't know it was coming.
Yeah.
I
guess we should talk about that.
We got to come back afterwards so that people are going to hear it and people know. So let's go ahead and talk about it. We did. We had the fortunate chance to have Caitlin Blackwood. I didn't do it the whole program.
You didn't.
I didn't. Caitlin Blackwood, we got to host her panel. So it was Caitlin Blackwood on Traveling the Vortex because we were recording our podcast live. And so went backstage, met Caitlin. Keith and I waited on Sean, who showed up 10 minutes late. And it was Sean. He had to get from one end of the convention center to another. So
and it was very crowded.
Especially after I walked that afterwards to get down there and realized how far you had to come.
Yeah.
But anyway, the panel will speak for itself, but we had a nice chat with Caitlin. We opened up the floor. Prior to that, when we were backstage, Kurt had come back, and I overheard him saying something about a surprise, bringing a surprise in later. So the brain works start working. Could this surprise be?
John Delancey's going to be here?
Could this be? So I kind of suspected that maybe Karen Gillan was going to crash our panel, but I wasn't sure. So anyway, so we're on stage and we're doing our thing, and the interview's going great. And we'd opened up for questions, and I thought we were having a grand time. I had so much fun. It was so much fun. And Caitlin Blackwood, she's a wonderful, warm. She's kind of shy, but talking to her backstage, I kind of thought, oh gosh, we're going to really have to pull some of this because she told me she's on her fifth convention. Yeah. And she's not out there in front of fans and people, and she's real humble and real.
And she's 15, so
yeah.
She's 14. She's
14.
She's about to turn 15.
She's about to turn 15.
Yeah. So think of how you were at 14, and
and so, but wonderful, and she has some great little stories, and she talked, and she's real open and welcome with fans, and in the corner of my eye, I see somebody come in with this really big burly guy. And they kind of slink up to the side and they sit down. And I look over there and I do a double take and I look again and I'm like, so there's one question that Caitlin's answering. And I remember now, even though I've listened to the audio now, but there was one question I didn't hear the answer to at all. In my mind, I'm going, oh, I know who that is. So anyway, as we're sitting there, and this doesn't come across on the audio because her mic didn't come on. As we're sitting there, we're going back and forth, and I keep expecting Karen to say something because she's got a mic, and I keep expecting her to ask a question or something. And time's ticking along.
I like to think that Karen was just sitting there enjoying the panel.
I think that's probably what happened. But as we're sitting there, finally I said, okay, I'm going to turn the attention to Karen. So I said, we haven't talked much about Karen Gillen. Tell us a little bit about Karen. What's it like? So Caitlin launches in to start talking a little bit about her, and then Karen pipes up, yeah, let's talk about Karen. And of course, then the gig's up, and she's out there, and everybody's like, oh, you hear the fervor in the audience, like, oh, is this really Karen? So we, of course, invite her up on stage, and she came up graciously because I'm not even sure she was going to come up. I think she was going to ask a couple of fun questions from the audience, and that was it. Because her panel was right afterwards. Yeah. But when her mic wasn't working, I thought, okay, we're going to take this opportunity. So like, come on up. And Sean, he's like, no, I'm going down there. I'm taking my mic. I've got this. It goes down. He's going to give her mic. Says, no, come up here. So Sean shows her how to get up onto the stage, and she comes up. And for the second time in a row, Sean was able to offer a chair to a high-profile celebrity personality.
That's my new MO.
Because
I gave up my mic, and he gave up his chair.
Sean's chair went to Karen.
I might as well have let you had my mic because I couldn't say anything.
Well, I eventually took it. So I ask a question.
I think part of the thing, I think I might have been more starstruck had I not already been in my head preparing for it. So it wasn't until after
that I had met her before.
It wasn't until after we had got off and done, we were walking away, that I thought, wow, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So Sean and I had no idea it was going to happen.
I had absolutely no idea it was going to happen.
I heard Kirk say the surprise thing. Never dawned on me. I thought they were talking about a surprise that was coming later. That we kind of got tipped off that might happen, and I thought, oh, that's what they're talking about.
I didn't hear
thought once.
I didn't hear the surprise thing, and when she said, yeah, let's talk about Karen, I was one of the murmuring. And in the movies, in the cartoons, when the camera pans over and then suddenly does that weird extreme zoom into a tiny little box way in the distance, and you're looking at one thing, that's what my brain did. There she is. Oh, my God. And then she came up on stage, and it's weird because I think the question right before that Caitlin had answered was she was talking, or just prior to that, I think was about fangirling over Rue from the Hunger Games and how she was so, that was my immediate.
That can't be the question because I remember hearing that.
Yeah, I was going to comment. It was like, I'm fangirling up here now, and I couldn't get it out because everything just went, oh, I'm on stage with both Amy's. Where do you... Yeah, so it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And you will get to hear all of that.
Yes.
And my complete and utter silence in all of its glory.
You asked a question, didn't you?
I did ask a question. I was able to get one in.
Yeah. Nope.
So anyway, that was my highlight.
Absolutely.
Because it was already very cool that we were getting to talk to Caitlin Blackwood, who was, a Doctor Who guest, and it was our panel, and it was our guest, and that was cool. And then when Karen came up there, it was the icing. I mean, it was the cherry on top. It was it made what was already a wonderful dessert without that added bonus even cooler to have both Amy's on stage. And it was really cool because Karen, you could tell she's really cool because she kept focusing the questions back to Caitlin, realizing this was her moment. Karen was going to have her thing afterwards, and Karen answered a couple questions that the audience had because we opened
the
up
audience still focused.
They did, and I was really appreciated that because a lot of them were there to talk to Caitlin, and so it didn't. I don't feel like it kind of overshadowed Caitlin doing that because Caitlin was still kind of the star of that panel. Because then, in turn, we all went to Karen's panel. And Caitlin did the same thing in hers. In fact, she came up early on, and was up there for the majority of it.
Yeah. And Karen had no idea that was going to be happening.
Yeah.
And they put Caitlin in line with these gargantuan...
I don't know where she got these sunglasses.
They
were Jackie O glasses.
Yeah, Jackie
She had a hat, too.
And a hat.
But she didn't wear the hat. Well, she had the hat when she first walked up there, but I think she took it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she was incognito in line and asked the question, and Karen looked down and just lost it.
And the question she asked was something along the lines of, wasn't it true that you threw up on two of your cousins on an airplane? Caitlin being the one of the cousins that she threw up on.
I think Karen was genuinely embarrassed by it.
Yeah.
She was like, oh my gosh, I did do that.
The great thing about Karen is she seems very down to earth and just wants to have fun.
Yeah.
Throughout everything.
She's real candid too. She's not afraid to talk about anything.
I later on Sunday was in the photo op booth and was taking the pictures that they printed off and put them on the table for people. So I got to see pretty much everybody's picture. And some of those were the Karen and Caitlin and just Karen. And some of the poses she would do with people I don't imagine most other celebrities would do that sort of thing. Cool.
Did you see?
It's kind of like John Barrowman in that aspect of she'll do anything almost.
Did you see the pinching the bottom one?
Yeah. I didn't
see.
I saw it after the fact. I saw it on Facebook. Julie from Kansas City Time Lords.
Yeah,
yeah.
She's dressed as Osgood, and she's got her hand kind of down behind Karen, who's making an O face. And then Caitlin's got her hand behind Osgood's bum.
Sorry.
And she's making the O face, and Caitlin's got this huge grin on her face.
I think it's a carryover because she went to Galley, and I think she got a photo op with Barrowman, and they did something similar. So it's kind of a carryover thing.
It's an amazing photo. It's so awesome. But yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah,
it was a really good time.
And I think you brought this up, but were you surprised that there wasn't as many Guardians of the Galaxy questions? That the majority of Karen's panel was Whovian questions?
It was very much based on who. I mean, there were a couple. And Kirk, to his credit as moderator, he had a very nifty idea, I thought, of kind of doing a lightning round with questions that he pulled from a Fez. And it was kind of...
wasn't even a question, it was his words.
Yeah, just words.
Just doing
words.
First impression.
Her first reaction to the word.
In the hopes that maybe that would knock out some of the standard, what was your favorite episode questions that everybody seems to want to ask. And so they kind of knocked some of that early. And I thought the rest of the questions that the audience asked, I thought were really well, spot on, well played.
It was a good ploy, but I did feel bad for the audience, especially the members that had their question ready and were getting ready to go up to ask, and then suddenly they had to scramble to think about the question.
But yeah, I mean, there were a lot of great questions about. I mean, the people asked about Oculus and Guardians, obviously, and Selfie. But it was
there was quite a few Selfie questions actually.
It was a Who panel for sure, and well,
it's a good show that shouldn't have got canceled. I'll stand by that. I thoroughly enjoy that show.
We
didn't think I would when it was
you were
advertised.
I remember.
Yeah,
you were
I
very,
went. Oh, come on, and yeah, it is funny. It's a good show.
But we have kind of the distinctive footnote of being the Karen panel, not our panel, but the Karen panel was the largest crowd ever assembled in one room in Planet Comicon history.
Even Stephen Amell on Sunday was a smaller crowd.
Which flabbergasted me.
Yeah.
I did not expect. I kind of thought, well, this record will stand for one day. And then Stephen Amell will knock it out.
There was standing room only.
But yeah, and Mel confirmed that because she was backstage for all that,
on the
too.
floor at the back. Of course, because we got out of our panel, it had already filled up by the time we got around there.
Yeah.
But, so... Chris Jackson, we know you listen. There's money to be made in bringing Who guests to town.
Well, and Timey-Wimey almost needs to go up to the big ballroom, too, because that was full.
By the time they got the
full.
room filled.
Lots of Who love. Don't underestimate the Who.
Don't underestimate the Who.
Don't underestimate the Who. And then
I don't know that we could have handled Bowerman if he'd have showed up.
Probably
not.
Because initially we had both John and Eve Miles were also booked for this weekend, and they both had work commitments come up that they couldn't do it. So from a capacity standpoint, I don't know
absolutely not.
So after that, after all of the nerves and tight stomach and butterflies and everything, man, I had the best con after that because it was just I had no responsibilities.
I unfortunately had to go off and go volunteer some more. I ran off and I didn't stay for all of Karen's panel, but I did go and get J. August Richards' autograph. Such a nice guy. I ended up talking to him for several minutes more than I expected to. And he did that with pretty much everybody. Just talked and listened to him and whatever they had to say. Very nice. Really nice guy. And then I went and volunteered at the photo ops booth, which... If you remember last year, I complained about photo ops. This year was great. This new company is wonderful. It's Epic Photos. I wasn't in charge of taking orders for the photos. all my most of the volunteers' responsibility were very basic but necessary. So I was helping scan people out. Once they got their picture, you scan a barcode and their picture, and that lets them check out and go, okay, you're done. And then I would sell them a protective sleeve, and that was it. And it was so fun, and it was fun to see a lot of the pictures come through and the costumes, and so it's kind of a neat way to kind of people watch while still helping out.
Yeah.
I have nothing but high praise for Epic.
Yeah.
They
well-oiled machine.
Yeah, and did a really good job. And the past couple of years, we've had Froggy, Froggy's has done both Galley and this one, and I've kind of become less and less enchanted with Froggy as time's gone on with some of the just logistical problems they seem to keep running into.
Well,
and Galley had a different company. It wasn't Epic, but they had a different company this year. But I liked Epic better than them even. So.
Epic was so slick. Like, if you bought a JPEG copy, as soon as they scanned you out, it was in your inbox.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
which is really cool. That's a really smart way to do it.
It is a smart way to do it.
And I like the
How much is the JPEG?
I don't know. I don't know cost on any of it.
You were just scanning people out.
$5 for a protective sleeve.
They also did a really, I think a lot of people are moving to this now where it's not waiting for the photos to be printed.
It's fast.
This just kind of instantaneous as the camera's going off. It's feeding into a printer. And
they were even cropping them and everything and getting them spit out in time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was
Of course, they made you
impressive.
go through a really long snake to get to there. And it was empty, so you walked through it, but it took you a little bit longer.
It's kind of
to get
nice
to the
though
table.
that the technology's come far enough that you have that instant gratification. You don't have to come back later and get a photo, and they have the chance for getting it when you leave. Oh gosh, I forgot to pick up my photo.
Yeah. Which surprisingly, some people still did.
There
There was a stack back there. I'm like, how do these people not get their photos?
There's that odd.
They thought they were coming back for them later, like
I
Froggy.
guess so, yeah.
There's that odd moment where you walk over to, in years past, you'd walk back over to the photo area to get your table, and there's this whole table, just tables and tables and tables lined up of all these different photos. And so you're seeing everybody in the con who had their photo taken. It's just kind of, I don't know, almost an invasion of privacy at some point. Which doesn't matter, because all these people are going to post these on Facebook later. But it's like, once they've made the decision to do that, I'm entitled to look at it, but I feel weird doing it ahead of time.
Oh, and once it got to, like, Stephen and Mel, and there was Stephen and Karen doing photo ops at the same time, the tables did get very full, and it got very backed up. So then I almost needed another person back there with me, pulling the pictures off and organizing them. Luckily, when I left, 2 people replaced me, so they were able to solve that issue later.
That's good. What else on Saturday? You guys do anything else Saturday?
Oh, well, after I got them volunteering, you and I walked the floor a bit more and went and talked to listener Robert.
That was on Sunday.
No,
it was Saturday.
I
went there Sunday. Yeah, it was Saturday. Yeah,
it was near the end of the show Sunday. We went and Sarah was off, kind of found a quiet corner knitting, so we went and collected her, and then went and visited Robert and talked with him for a little bit. We both bought a book of his, The Convention. Seemed very apropos to purchase at a convention.
Good word use.
Thank you.
And Robert, I owe you an apology because I met up with Robert early Friday morning, kind of before things really got rolling. And then my volunteer duties just kind of kept me out of that particular part of the building, running back and forth. And I never got over there again because I saved my last $10 of the con to come over and buy a book. And I never got back over there. So I'll have to catch up with you at the next one and do it then. But it was nice to finally put it
finally, because we've missed him so many times and there's been so many opportunities. So we made it a point to go find Robert and introduce ourselves formally in person and got to talk with him. That was nice.
So hello, Robert.
Hello, Robert.
Hello, Robert.
And then Keith and Sarah decided they needed to get up a couple more autographs.
Yeah, Ming Na Wen was only there on Saturday, so I was worried about running out of time that she was going to leave before this con ended. So as soon as we got that one with Robert, we went over there and ended up staying in line for a little bit because she was off doing photo ops. And luckily, we didn't have to wait too long, maybe 20 minutes.
No, I think was it even 20? That was the cool thing is because I got in line with you guys because this is one that I would want, and I'm not shy to say that I don't collect a lot of autographs because I don't like to pay a lot of money for autographs. I'm not going to go on that tirade again. I've talked about that on the shows in the past, but my cap is usually $40. That's about I paid $45, I think, for John Berman, but 40 is usually my cap.
Well, what was Billy D? Was he more than 40?
Billy D was 40.
We thought he was going to be 50, and
Oh,
he
okay,
ended up
he
being
ended up
40.
being 40,
Yeah.
okay. I
So
couldn't
40 is
remember
about
how
my
that worked.
cap for paying for somebody's signature. But I wasn't going to do this because, well, I am a huge Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fan. Huge. But it was one of those things where I just, I've spent my money for the day. I got Caitlin's, and I had spent my money for the day, and so I thought, I'm not gonna. And so I joined Keith and Sarah in line because I just to hang with you guys and talk, and so we did, and we waited. She was, and the cool thing was though, as we were waiting there, you saw all the other autograph tables closing down.
Yeah, because I was
thinning
gonna
out, and there was no, and they were all leaving.
We got in line for Mignon, and I was gonna go get Caitlin afterwards because I hadn't made it over there yet, and we saw her leave.
Luckily, I had gotten mine earlier in the afternoon. I did the same thing.
Luckily, I could still go on Sunday.
Yeah, I waited until after our panel to go get it so I could go thank her again for doing the panel with us. But as we were sitting there, then Agent May comes out of the bed. You were supposed to help me there, Keith.
Mignon. Sorry, I didn't know.
Comes out of the photo area, and she comes and she winds back around, and she just comes over and she says, "I'm so sorry, guys. Thank you so much for waiting. I know you guys are sticking it out. And, and by this time the con's running to a close. She's the only autograph person there left, which it's Saturday." But she just came over. She was really personal, really kind and genuine, and thankful for us being there. And it was at that moment that I went, I'm buying your autograph, because it was such a nice moment that she connected with the fans, and she said, everybody here gets a button because
we were the last group.
We were the last group. You're getting the buttons, and so I thought, you know what? That's what I appreciate from a celebrity. I don't like when a celebrity just goes up there and becomes a machine and starts signing, and this is just another thing. Here you go. Thanks. Move along. When they connect with the fans, when they have that personability, that's that extra edge for me to say, you know what, you're worth it to me to do this. And so I said, yep. From there, I said, I'm getting my autograph. Not to mention now, I think it's really cool if I had like a wall of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So now
You could just
the rest of the cast
start
can,
doing an MCU wall.
the rest. Yeah, that's true. The rest of the cast
You
can
didn't get,
thank Agent May.
Rooker, did you?
I didn't.
You didn't Karen
well, I
either.
didn't get Karen
Or
either.
Jay August.
Well, they
Or Jay
were
August.
all hundreds of dollars. No, they weren't that much.
Jay August was only 40.
I didn't
also.
even get Karen's autograph because she's at 60 right now. So, but
We deliberated on that one for a little bit, and then just decided, well, the photo that we got is of both Amy's together, and since Caitlin was only 20, I reworked the math in my head and just kind of equalized what I would pay for, and it was like,
That makes them both 40 that way.
about 40.
they're all 40. That's how I look at it.
The way I look at Karen, and God bless her, and she's a big star now, and I'm glad that she is. But the way I look at Karen is she's connected to Doctor Who, and I think 20 years down the line, when she's not the big name she is now, she's going to be at a Doctor Who convention. She's going to be $40. So I'll get her eventually. I'm playing the long game.
You're playing the long game.
So, but Agent May, she was just there was something connected. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do this.
Well, and I feel like I've been saying this. She also was very down to earth.
She was,
and I've watched interviews with her and like Nerd HQ at San Diego. I saw a panel she did with her. So personable, so friendly, so very humble about everything she's done. I mean,
And she's
she's
done a lot.
Mulan, and
See, I didn't know that until this weekend.
I'm surprised there were no Mulan pictures
I
unless
was
they
a
were
little
all sold
surprised.
out.
Yeah, I was a little surprised. So we got that, and that was pretty cool. Got to chat with her for a couple minutes. I mean, we were still moving through there pretty quick because I'm sure she was ready to be done today. She was,
It was
she
the
was
end of
tired,
the-
but she didn't act it. That was what was cool too.
Yeah.
Is you couldn't tell that she was like.
Oh, and she was
exhausted.
going to film the next day, I think.
Yeah, she had commitment the following day. So.
Yeah,
So then-
Saturday was good. We knocked out the rest of our autographs with the exception of Stephen Amell and Caitlin Blackwood, which we're going to do for Sunday because she'd already left. Caitlin had on Saturday.
And Amel wasn't going to be there.
And Amell
until-
wasn't going to be there till Sunday. So we knocked out the rest of ours. And just all of the celebrities that I interacted with this weekend were very pleasant, very personable, very friendly.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't I'll pick on Eric Roberts. We didn't have one of those this year. So it was really cool.
And we all went to dinner on Saturday night.
Yeah.
And then Sunday, let's talk a little quickly about Sunday. We're running along.
You go ahead.
Sunday, Mel's back in the dressing room again. I had a couple of lighter responsibilities, and then I was on call, and I dropped the ball on one of them. because we started off, we were like, we're going to go get in line. We're going to camp out. We got here early. We're going to wait for Stephen Amell, because that's kind of the one autograph that we know that everybody in the building is going to want on Sunday. We're going to get ours first and see if we can get out of there. So we wound up being number 3 in line, and he showed up and kind of peeked out from behind the curtain and saw that the stretch for his line went out and down. And the autograph alley for the celebrities is 2,500 row. And you said
not dollars.
Yeah, no, row 2,500. And you said that the Stephen Amell line, by the time when you checked, it had stretched all the way down to 1,400.
Yeah,
aisle 1,400. This is a
and that was when it initially set up, and then they later wrapped it around behind and snaked it behind the autograph or the celebrity row.
The picture that Keith posted online doesn't do it justice unless
because
you've
you
been
can't
to the convention and you know where he was when he was taking that photo.
There's a huge building and a huge line.
I think you can still find the program with the map. If you just go look at that, you can get an idea.
But he kind of, he came out and, scratch-eared, and he put his bag down, and he kind of leaned and looked at how far back this line went. And he kind of grimaced just a little bit, and then he turned to his handler. He says, "I really hope we have time to get everybody in." So it's like right off the bat, he's concerned about making sure that he has enough commitment time to do this. And so they started, and he's still personable. He's still friendly. He signed, and, he's got a beautiful signature. Beautiful, big, bold, Didn't leave any room on the photo for anybody else, but that's okay. It was pretty. And, I suspect that maybe some of the people at the end of the line didn't get that. He's going to go back to work to Monday, and he's not going to be able to
won't be able to shoot an arrow.
Yeah, he's like, I can't do it. My hands are... But
because he was catching a red eye out to Vancouver to go film.
Well, yeah, and not only that,
he caught a red eye in.
He had caught a red eye in because they made him work Saturday. So he caught. He
was at a Paley Fest event.
It was Paley Fest, but it was a promotional thing that Warner sent him to.
Yeah,
so it was work.
It was him and everybody else.
Yeah,
but it was. He wasn't.
That's why
filming.
Barman couldn't be there.
Yeah,
he was at the same thing.
He was.
But then he caught the red eye into Kansas City and apparently missed his flight out. He was supposed to fly out at 4:30, and he stayed late to make sure that everybody got an autograph.
Okay, I'd have paid for Steve Amell's autograph.
And keep in mind,
I think he was 42.
He was 50.
40. Oh, he was 50. Okay.
Keep in mind that,
but still, considering,
because you're there Saturday, but you've got this amount of time. You've got at least an hour set aside for your panel. You've got at least, probably an hour set aside for photo ops with you.
More
and
than
then you
that,
and Robbie and, all this kind of stuff. And the rest of the time is signing autographs. And he stayed late to make sure that he could get as many people in as he could. So that was just pretty amazing.
Yeah, I was able to, I did the photo op stuff, and then I was able to escort him to his panel. And I overheard them talking on the escalator, that they estimated with all the photo ops, he did about 700 photo ops.
Wow.
Which is impressive. And he was still very friendly. I didn't get a chance to chat with him much. Really, they didn't even need me to escort him. I just felt like I should.
He had a bit of an entourage.
He had an entourage. He had an agent and several other people from the con. And that big burly guy that came in with Amy was with him pretty much the whole time. So he didn't need me, but I went along anyways.
I would have too. Yeah.
Sat in on his panel. Got some spoilers.
I'm glad I didn't go then.
No, for me, because I'm not caught up.
Oh, okay.
He was very good about.
I'm
not caught up. I did start back up though.
Oh, good.
Yeah, but he was very good about avoiding spoilers, hinting at what's coming, but not giving any spoilers away.
Cool.
And then he even, after the panel, most people won't. Most celebrities aren't as willing to stop after a panel and say hi to fans, and there was 3 or 4 people backstage that he wound up talking with for a little bit.
Oh,
and
neat.
Signed the girl's cast and took a selfie with one person, and a couple other people he ended up taking selfies with that I think the audiovisual guy's name again? Victor's family friend. He introduced her to him, and so he was still very friendly and talked with everybody. And
that's cool.
Then we got him back upstairs, and he went back to work.
I felt pretty fortunate because there was a lot of shows going on this weekend that I'm not in the know on, so I was really trying to be careful about. I don't need to know. And they asked me at one point in time on Sunday. They said, "Can you go in and we're down a room monitor for Scott Wilson from The Walking Dead. Can you go sit in and just make sure that they're doing okay? Because it's in the grand ballroom and it's a huge room and we only have one person at the moment." And I was like, "Yeah, no problem." So I went in there. I know everybody that dies. I'm only up to season 3. And I can tell you who's not going to be around for the next 2 seasons.
Well, do you even need to watch now?
Yeah, it's just kind of,
Well, at least he knows not to get attached.
And I walked in the room and I checked in with the other guy. I was like, is everything going? He's, yeah. I said, okay, I'm going to station myself over here and we'll just keep let me know if you, okay. And the first thing, so when you're all getting, it's The Walking Dead, you're all going to die at some point. Is it kind of like a fun lottery, like you're taking bets to see who's going to get bumped off this week, or is it a terrible cloud hanging over you that nobody wants to leave? And he proceeded to explain this terrible cloud and each time it happened and to whom it happened. I'm like, oh. So threw that one right out the window. But
See, I was only spoiled on one death in Arrow.
I know which one you're talking about too. So.
I don't know. We still have 3 episodes to go before at the end of season 1.
Oh, okay.
We didn't get nearly as caught up as we were hoping.
Then you're not anywhere close to the death. He's
No. But yeah, no, he was great. And what was the other? Oh, we
Go ahead.
We knocked out. We went and got Caitlin's autograph. And thanked her again for being part of our panel and everything like that. And I asked her, I said, is this your mom? I've kind of seen her, hovering around. She goes, yeah. So I went back and I said, well, I'm going to talk to her real quick. And she was back behind the table. And I leaned in and I said, Mama Pond? And she looked up. Big smile on her face. And I told her, I said, we just wanted to thank you, A, for coming, for bringing Caitlin, for being part of, the insanity that was our panel and being good sports about all that. We're so appreciative. And she went off about how great this con was, about how friendly the people were, about how great the volunteer staff was, about how much fun they had, that they have been to a couple and didn't like the ones in England.
I've
And
heard that about the ones in England, actually.
She wasn't sure she was going to do too many more, and that this one kind of turned her around and said, maybe, there's something to this.
Yeah, cool.
So,
Good.
just, Kansas City, you made a good impression on Mama
Yay.
Pond. So, there was that. And then we changed shirts and went and snuck over into Calorie Airways line so that we could get that photo corrected. And walked in, and it's a shirt that says "As You Wish" on it, but it's Buttercup pushing Wesley down the hill. So he's in all these weird contortionist poses.
And it says "As you wish" down the hill, which I think
down
is really
the hill.
cool.
And he saw it, and his face lit up. He goes, "Oh, that is a cool shirt!" And he comes at me with a Sharpie. And I'm like, no, we didn't pay for the autographs. We just, we've already met you and everything. We just wanted to get the photo redone. He goes, I don't care. Make it taut. So I had to tighten up the shirt. He signed. So thanks, Carrie Always. I can't wear my shirt now. Because it's got to hang on the wall now.
I'm sure you're not that sad about it.
I'm not that sad about it. Mel was like,
To carry autographs.
So, got that photo done. And then, yeah.
You've got one more story in you. I don't think you've touched on the...
I should mention
snafu.
I should mention real quick, since we're on Carrie, I did get to sit on in his panel. The most of it, I was sitting talking to my sister, and I think his panel was at 4. Maybe it was 3. I can't remember. Well, anyway, whatever time it was, I was talking to my sister because they were there, and we're sitting there talking, and then it occurred to me what time it was, and I went, and I was nowhere near the grand ballroom, so I was like, it's at least a 15-minute walk. No, it's not that far, but
yes, it is.
Well, coming out of those panels, it is because there's so
crowd.
many people. Yeah, but there wasn't a crowd. So plus, I'm going upstream to anybody that's trickling out of there.
Kirk was telling people, you need to pick up your celebrity in about 10 minutes, too. And I said, 15.
So I hurried down there and got probably about 35 minutes of his panel in. So it was quite fun. He's real. Did you guys go to that one?
I did not.
He's real personal too. He'd get up and whenever somebody would have a question or something that kind of like you could tell he liked, he said, "Oh, you get a hug," and he'd come down and he'd hug him. So, and he'd come down and sit on the side of the stage when there were kids that were asking questions, and he'd be right there, real attentive to them, and they asked their questions, and he'd give them his answers. And it's funny because I think at least 3 kids asked him what his favorite part of filming was. And so he kept going, well, again, it was when but he was really cool about it. So that was quite an enjoyable panel as well. Sorry, go ahead.
You're going to make me tell the snafu story.
Well, you've already referenced it, so you've got to
did,
follow up.
Well, I was hoping that would be
We
one
don't do that.
lose
We
in
leave
ether.
those spots hanging so we can do a clip show later.
No, because I haven't heard the story. I want to hear the story.
After that, Mel had a little bit of time before her thing, and so we went over and got caught up on the artist side of the building. And met up with Sarah, and I'm standing there, and all of a sudden I look down and I realize that I was supposed to be escorting Robbie Amell to the Grand Ballroom 10 minutes ago. Oh. So I was like, bye.
So his panel was starting when
his panel was starting. And by the time I got from Artist Alley back over to the other side of the building, fighting through the crowd, because Sunday has a pretty good crowd too. And yes, it's 11:10 now. And I walk up and there's a couple of volunteers and nobody at the table, And I was like, please tell me that I didn't abandon him and that somebody got him to his panel. Okay. I was supposed to escort him, and I feel so bad. And they looked at me and says, oh, no, dude. He says, he came out when Steven came out, and he signed autographs for about 10 minutes and then decided, I got some other things I've got to – so he didn't have much of a line. He says, can I go and do this, and then we'll just go to the panel. And I'm like, yeah, sure. So somebody else was already there, and they got him taken care of and got him escorted. And I was like, oh, thank God.
Oh, so Robbie Amell, until he hears this, had no idea that you –
He had no idea that I missed the assignment. And so I went and
now we know so.
Like the next thing that we did was we found Kirk. And I walked up to him and I held my hand out and he grabbed it and kissed my hand. He says, happy birthday. I was like, no, you're supposed to slap me. So he slaps me on the wrist. He says, what for? I said, I abandoned a guest. And he went from that, and then I explained the rest of it too. Oh, okay.
Probably gave him a mild heart attack unnecessarily.
No, you're good. So. Mel, meanwhile, was fighting with a mechanical problem, and back in one of the dressing rooms, the room next to it was they had a couple of big industrial ice makers. Somebody had taken the thing out that stops it from making ice, and so she's been fighting with people all day trying to keep this portion of the hallway clear, and they kept parking carts and golf carts and different things like this, and he goes, well, just I'll move the cart, but just so you know, there's water on the floor, be careful. And she looks down, and there's this, not a little bit of water, not like a puddle, but like this stream of water coming across the thing. What is the? So they call security, and security says, no, you need to call facilities. So they call facilities. Facility comes down. Somebody had taken the thing off the ice maker, so it was continuing to make ice in two big industrial ice makers. It pushed the doors open, and all of this ice, which is now knee-deep in the room, is cascading out. They couldn't get into the room. It was pushed up. So they finally, they got this big burly guy, and he shoved the door open, and ice is scattering out, and it had been sitting there piled up against the door, melting, and now it was melting out the floor. So she got to be the hero there and, coordinate efforts to get that all cleaned up before J. August Richards got off of his panel. Wow. So I'm like, what is the deal with this? So she had a lot of fun stories from backstage. She loved doing that.
So quick wrap up of the convention overall. What do you guys think?
It was wonderful.
I think this was one of the best years. I think it's felt really organized.
I think we say that every year, but it keeps improving.
It does.
It really does.
And they not that they have very many flaws in the first place, but they always learn from things that they could do better. They always learn things they can do better year after year, and they continue to improve this. And I just kudos go out to the Planet Comicon crew, all of them. Not just Super Kirk and Super Kelly, who are wonderful in the capacity that they serve, but just everybody. It seems like they put on a really good con, and I think a few years back I maybe was a little disparaged, but it's just they're mounds and mounds better every year.
Well, I don't know if it's true, but just from the way the con was laid out this year, I kind of got the impression that Chris went to a Wizard World con and saw how they had things laid out and kind of took a cue from that and improved.
He's probably
on
learning as he goes
because
every year.
The queue line to get in was far improved from previous years. They put tape on the floor, snaking for autographs like Wizard World did. They just did a lot of those little things that help streamline everything.
Well, I saw parts of Bartle Hall this year that I have never seen before because they opened so much of it up.
And there's still room to expand.
Yeah, well, they will be. They've already said they're going to take off the rest of the building, so they'll have the whole thing. And that's the one thing that I there's a little bit of fear there that because that's exploded so big, so fast, that from where we were at the Kansas City Convention Center down in Overland Park to Bartle Hall, the size that it is now. I mean, that's an amazing
International
Convention Center. Thank you. And it's such a huge leap forward that you almost worry that have you outgrown it? Are you too big for your britches already? But like you said, they managed to keep adapting and fixing the little and tweaking.
Well, and I think they're also making a smart move for next year. While it's a bit unfortunate for us, it's going to May.
Yes.
Which is
it is May next year?
It's May next year.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
20th
I saw 20th to 22nd. I didn't see May.
May 20th to 22nd, 2016.
We won't be able to do anything on Friday.
Right.
Because Sweeps is still going on. But
Which
that
I'm
means
fine with. I really missed not going Sunday, which for the listeners, I had intended to go Sunday, and we just had personal stuff come up. Holly had some school stuff, so I had to stay because I had the kids. And Caitlin had stuff that she had to do, so didn't make it back Sunday. But I Friday, again, I'm abnormal when it comes to conventions, though. 2 days is good for me, and so I never miss Friday. But if I wasn't there Saturday and Sunday I really missed. So
see, and I really like Friday because it's so much quieter.
What'd you say? 20th to the
22nd.
22nd.
May 20th through the 22nd.
It's not even late enough to be after the Labor Day.
I even checked to see if it was. I checked it as soon as I found out if it was in sweeps.
Because sweeps actually start in late April and go till late May.
Yeah. Which
quite.
is smart for
and
the
it shouldn't
convention.
hit any graduations. There's no basketball.
Yeah, NCAA
Yeah, they've
basketball.
got to get off the NCAA weekend.
Because that's, at least for the next several years, is still downtown Kansas City
Right.
at the Sprint Center, which is partially why parking is such a nightmare.
Yep.
And so that's just moving the dates is going to make it huge leaps and bounds and improvement next year.
And this same weekend is also Nakacon, which is a smaller.
Was it this weekend?
It's the same weekend.
I
Going on
normally
last
have
2
seen-
years.
Yeah.
Kind of getting away from that, I think, is going to. Which I mean, Nakacon's a pure anime convention, but the fact that they can now kind of
coexist without
because
overlapping each other.
obviously you're going to pull some guests from both arenas, and so those people were stuck in the dilemma of which one am I going to this year. So you're going to be able to feed that now.
It'll be interesting to see if they're going to wind up competing with Wizard World St. Louis, because that's pretty much the same weekend this year. So if they set it the same weekend next year, it'd be going on at the same time.
You noticed, although this is 9 hours away, but Indianapolis Comic-Con was this weekend as well.
Yeah.
So they were already competing, probably guest-wise.
Well, and there were a couple others I saw online that cons were going on.
I think it was one in Atlanta this weekend. Was it Atlanta? Somewhere.
I know
Raleigh.
Rachel was in Indiana.
Raleigh. That's
Raleigh,
right.
because that's where David Tennant
Tennant
was.
Yeah, that's right.
So, but yeah, other than guests, I don't think there's anything locally commitment-wise that'll be messing up next year.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not my birthday.
No, it's not.
It's going to be weird.
It's going to be really weird to not celebrate 70,000 of my
Although
closest friends coming down.
Although we can shop for you early now. Instead of waiting until the weekend of.
Mel went back to that guy, and he had another Flash Gordon. It was
did he?
Ming and Clytus.
Ooh.
So she bought me that one, so I have a companion piece now for the one
So
you guys got me.
explain what I bought you for your birthday.
There's a great artist who did scenes from a movie, basically, but it's almost kind of like watercolors. Where he would do these little images, and it's I don't know, like a 3x5 maybe. Maybe it's bigger than that. But they had a really...
It's
3x5's not this big.
it's probably...
It's like this.
It's like 3x8.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's
a
5 by 8.
It's kind of a
maybe.
strip.
Rectangle.
5 by 8, maybe, because it's a little taller.
Maybe
than
4x8.
4 by 8, I don't know.
It's pretty narrow.
Probably 4 if it's about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty narrow.
It's like that.
3x8 would be.
And,
yeah.
pretty thin.
Yeah.
but
There's a mat on
narrow.
it, too. So.
it's the scene from Flash Gordon where Dale has run up and embraces Flash in the middle of the Hawkman City, and Brian Blessed is standing there, his Voltan behind her, and it's got a Lockman in the background. And
that sounds cool. Did you bring it?
I didn't bring it. It's already hanging up, actually, in the bathroom.
Okay.
So,
Well, I'll see
So
it.
next week. When we
next week, you'll see it. But so they got me that for my birthday, because it was like,
Very cool.
Yeah.
That sounds really cool.
So, yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do without Planet Comicon on my birthday next year. It's just weird.
All right. Well, if you're listening still, and keep listening, because stick around, we're going to have the Caitlin Blackwood panel that she set on with us with us next. So hang around. But
And thank you to all of our new listeners. If you
Yes.
if you found us at the con and are joining us for the first time, welcome. This is kind of what it's like. So stick around.
we didn't tangent as much this week.
No, we
so
didn't.
You can expect that with
This is kind of what it's
further
like.
shows. All right. Well,
But
that's going to do it.
also, thank you very much to Kirk and Kelly for letting us be so heavily involved as we are.
Absolutely.
I don't think we can thank you guys enough.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely true. And thank you to everybody who came by our booth and signed our guest book. Thank you to Lisa for suggesting the guest book. That was a great idea that we implemented immediately. And
Here, hang on. Thank you, everybody. All right.
that works.
That's it for our part this week. Until next week, I'm Glenn.
I'm Sean.
I'm Keith.
Cheers.
Good night, everybody.
Be seeing you. We've joined the Doctor as he travels the Vortex and landed at Planet Comicon. I'm Keith.
I'm Sean.
I'm Glenn.
And I'm Caitlin.
Welcome, Caitlin Blackwood. Caitlin, how are you finding Kansas City so far?
Good, very good.
And what have you done since you got here? Now, I know you did the con yesterday, and you've been meeting fans today as well. Have you done anything leading up to coming out here tonight?
I have, while I've been in Kansas City, I have been to the Power and Light District. And I've been to Walmart.
You got Walmarts in Scotland, right?
No.
What's the Walmart experience like?
Amazing, absolutely amazing. In Inverness we have stuff. We have Asda, which is kind of like Walmart. But when we were in Walmart, we saw, saw food and clothes and guns. Nothing like that in Scotland.
Well, let's talk a little bit about you and your experience. Now, I'm sure the majority of people here are Doctor Who fans, right? That's where they congregate. And you came to Doctor Who at a very early age. You were 9, is that correct?
9 years old, yeah.
Tell us a little bit, how did you land the role of what you can consider Matt Smith, the 11th Doctor's first companion, right here, Amelia Pond?
Well, Karen Gillan, my older cousin, had said to the producers, she said, well, I have a younger cousin who looks a lot like me. So they says, oh, well, bring her in and we'll audition her for the part of Amelia Pond. And I went through the audition and the callback, and then they casted me for the part of Amelia Pond.
So did you know Karen pretty well before you got the part?
Well, I never met her. I grew up in Northern Ireland, and Karen grew up in Scotland, and then when I moved to Scotland at the age of 6, Karen had gone off to London to study acting, so we just never met each other, and the first time we actually met was on the set of Doctor Who.
So were you given any guidance on how to play her as a young character, or did you set the groundwork for Karen?
I set the groundwork for Karen.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
Now, when you were in the role, you played alongside Matt Smith and then later got to play alongside Karen in one of the later episodes. What was it like, first of all, working with Matt?
Working with Matt was amazing. He's just so much fun. It's like on a really stressful day and you've been up long hours and stuff like that. He's like full of energy, and it's really nice to be around.
I've heard he's a really fun guy.
Oh, he's a fun guy.
And he clearly he works very well with kids too, because you were really young, and this was your first acting job, right?
Yeah.
You hadn't done anything before this.
No.
So what's that like coming in? Were you a little intimidated?
A little at first, but then it kind of got easier as it went along.
Were you a fan of the show beforehand? I mean, were you like, oh, it's Doctor Who, I'm going to go be on Doctor Who, or was it just, oh, they want me to act?
It's okay. You don't have to be a fan as long as you are now.
I had watched it a few times. I was aware of Doctor Who, but I wasn't a fan before I started acting.
And now you're a fan,
I'm
right?
a big fan.
You know, they might start throwing things if they say. And then now, since your role on Doctor Who, what's that been like, and what's your experience has been since you've been off the series?
Well, after the series, I got into conventions. I didn't even know conventions existed. And I got into conventions and I started meeting lots of fans, and occasionally I've been stopped and says, oh my gosh, you're Amelia Pond. So that's pretty unreal that people actually recognize me as well. A lot of people come up to me and they start shaking and crying, and I'm like, oh, it's all right. My friends can't believe it. I've been with them when I've been stopped, and they're like, you're just Caitlin Blackwood. I don't even know why people stop you, and I'm like, neither do I. But yeah, after Doctor Who, everyone seemed to like stop me and ask me about it. And
Your schoolmates didn't treat you any different, though, did
oh
they?
no, they they treated me the same.
Which is probably a good thing, too.
It is a good thing, yeah.
Have you always wanted to act, or is it just something you kind of stumbled into?
Acting, I never wanted to do acting, ever. But when I was younger, I wanted to be a vet for a very long time. Not now, though. But no, it was just something that I stumbled into. Good thing.
It's paid off, certainly.
Yeah.
Do you like it enough to continue? I mean, is this like, yeah, I'm just gonna do this?
I'm not sure yet. Right now, I really want to do. My older sister right now is in university, and she's living the life in Edinburgh. She's got her own flat, and she has loads of friends, and she's just living the life, And I think that's something I would want to do one day. Is just go to a big city and have a nice cute wee flat like she does, and go to university, and that's something that I'm really interested in doing as well.
Now, you have some other projects that you've been working on, though, right? You did, you'll be seen, hopefully, in a guest appearance on another show called Cops and Monsters. Can you tell us a little bit about that? I know it hasn't aired yet, but that's coming up.
Yeah, right now I'm working on Cops and Monsters. It's a web series, and in it I'll be playing, they're not too sure yet, I'll either be playing a werewolf or a vampire. So I think I'd be pretty good at both those roles, but...
Are you pulling for one versus the other?
I'm hoping vampire, I'm not going to lie. But after that, I'm hopefully going to be filming a movie as well called Journey Bound, and that should be coming out around about the end of this year or start of next year.
I read a little bit about that. Are you playing a younger version of a character in that as well? Did I understand that right?
I think so. I haven't really got the script yet. I'm just waiting for that to come in, but I think that's what's happening, yeah.
Okay. Very good.
One of our listeners wrote in and wanted to know if you were given the opportunity, if Stephen Moffat called you and said, we're actually going to send Peter Capaldi back and meet an older version of Amy, but still in between where we met you originally at age 9 and where Karen's at, would you come back and say, yeah, I'll do that?
Definitely. Definitely. Yeah, it would be good to go back to Doctor Who again and do it all again.
Have you watched any of the new series with Peter?
Not yet. I don't know. I don't know if I can watch it without Matt in it, to be honest.
I think there's a lot of people like that. No, I think there's a certain number of people like that, not a lot of people. Not me, don't judge. Well, I'm sure there's people in the audience that want to ask you some questions too. Did you guys have anything else before we turn the audience loose?
I've got one more from another listener from Brittany. She wants to know, what was your favorite scene that you were in? And we've already kind of answered, is it fun working with Matt? I can't imagine it not being fun working with Matt. What was your favorite scene?
My favorite scene was probably Fish Fingers and Custard. It was so funny having to watch Matt eat fish fingers and custard, which is pretty disgusting, I can imagine. And I just kept messing up my lines or, doing something wrong just so he'd have to keep eating it over and over again. As you do.
It's funny, we just watched that last night. We do a Friday Night Who, where we go through and watch them. We just watched 11th Hour, knowing that you were going to be here. And I'm watching that scene, and you've got this greatest look on your face of, this guy's bonkers. He's just nuts.
And how much of that was having to act? Was it just Matt's just bonkers?
Yeah, Matt is just bonkers. No, he's good. He's good.
Should we open up the floor for questions?
I said we've got a couple
I think
microphones
there's
down here on
microphones
either
over here.
side.
I think they're working. If you want to go to the mics and
That works really well for me because I'm deaf. So if you could get into the mic and...
maybe queue up if you want. I used Q. That's a British thing.
You're so
not just British. That's Scottish too, right? Q. You guys talk a bit. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to be exclusive. Oh, it's not on.
It's not on.
I'll just say it loudly.
Hello? Hi.
Oh, there she is.
Hi. I didn't really have a question. I just wanted to apologize about the guns at Walmart. So that's America for you. So sorry.
Hello, I'm kind of short, so bear with me.
You'll have to speak up a little bit because
All right.
we can't hear you real
Cool.
well.
I got this.
Okay. I can also shout. I have a projecting. Okay, that works.
Oh, yeah,
All right,
either
so,
way.
What was it like seeing your face on TV for the first time?
Seeing my face on TV, I wouldn't watch it. Neither would Karen. The first time the 11th hour aired, my family held a massive party, and all my cousins came round, and it came on TV, and me and Karen were sitting behind the couch hiding. Just too embarrassed to watch, I think. But I don't know, my family always replay it over and over again. They have it all taped on our TV, so they watch it, and then I'm just like, oh no, goodness.
Is that one on?
I think it's on. Did you ever try the fish fingers and custard?
Oh God, no. It's not for me.
Who here has tried fish fingers and custard? Show of hands.
I've been meaning to.
We've done it on the podcast. It's actually not disgusting.
Oh.
It's not great. But
It's not great.
And everybody knows, I think that's the equivalent of fish sticks, we call it here. So, yeah.
What was your first impression when you first got to the Doctor Who set?
My first impression, I thought, oh goodness, this is going to be a lot of fun. You could just tell when you went in, there's like lots of bits lying around that you could play with.
When you initially came on, did you have any idea that you'd come back?
No, it was one night I was just sitting watching TV when I got an email through saying, we'd like to have you back, and I can remember screaming, like, hi, yes.
Did you meet Stephen Moffat?
I have met him, yes.
Yeah, what's he like?
He's a nice guy. He's really nice. I didn't talk to him for very long. I don't know. Yeah, he's lovely.
Over here?
What was your favorite memory of working on Doctor Who?
Oh, there's so many. I remember one night when we were filming, and we'd been filming for hours and hours, and we were filming the scene where Amelia was sleeping on her suitcase, and the Doctor picked her up and put her to her bed. And yeah, when Matt bent down to pick me up, he split his trousers. It was so funny, and I can remember the costume staff just saying, "Oh my goodness!" It was hilarious.
Did he just play it off, or was he? Because I can't imagine Matt's too humble of a guy. I mean, he seems very genuine and friendly, but I can imagine he might enjoy that too and think that was a little funny.
Yeah, he was laughing a lot.
Should we go over here?
When Karen offered you up for the role to play little Amy, and they contacted you, what was your first thought? Did you think what, or were you jumping the chance?
I didn't know it was going to be as big when I first started, so I just my family thought it was unreal, because someone would ask me if I was excited, I'd be like, yeah, sure, all right. Because I didn't know it was gonna be like this, but yeah.
I imagine 9-year-old you probably had no idea
Yeah,
that this could be a
at 9 years
thing.
old, I never knew anything about any of this.
Was it funner in the 11th hour to be the sweet little Amy, or when you're being the scary alien at the end?
Scary Amy.
I think that kind of shows your acting chops even at a young age, because at the beginning you're playing a 9-year-old girl. At the end of this, you're playing this scary prisoner zero, this version of him, and so I mean, you really kind of put something into that. So is it nice to have kind of a different, because you almost kind of play two roles in that aspect?
It was nice. It was nice to be sweet and innocent, but I think I'm more of a villain.
So wait a minute, you're telling me you're more like Prisoner Zero than you are Amelia Pond?
Yeah.
What was your favorite thing about working on Doctor Who, and what was your favorite part about Matt?
I think my favorite part about Matt was just of how nice he was and how funny he was, and it was just really nice after working really long hours. It was nice to chill out for a bit and in between the breaks and just have a little bit of fun. And he was always up for having a laugh as well. the whole experience of Doctor Who was my favorite part. Just, all of it was amazing.
How was it hanging out with Karen, Matt, and Arthur and the Big Bang? The three of them seem to have so much fun together. Did they include you in a lot of that?
Yeah, it was just crazy working with them. They were constantly breaking something or...
No, wait. We're breaking something? Like stuff on the set?
I'm pretty sure Karen once broke the sonic screwdriver. And one of the Daleks as well, I think. Yeah.
What was like your first reaction to meeting Matt and realizing how crazy he was?
My first reaction, I just kind of thought, oh my goodness.
You probably didn't think he was great at all. You probably thought, wow, who's this lanky goofball?
Yeah, I guess. I was just so young at the time. I didn't know that, adults were so crazy. He's not really an adult though, is he?
How about over here?
So my name is Abby Gail Morrell, and I have a question for you. My question is, what was your favorite episode that you watched?
My favorite episode that I watched.
You can say the ones with you in there.
I really like Let's Kill Hitler. That was a good one.
Yes.
That was my favorite.
And good job for going to Walmart.
All right. I'm sure you get asked this a lot, but do you have a favorite Doctor besides Matt Smith?
David Tennant. Yeah, he's cool. I've met him before, and he's Scottish, so that makes him even better.
How did you feel when you first stepped foot on the stage?
This stage? Because it's pretty impressive to be in this presence with us. But, no, I'm just kidding. No, when you first stepped on the set, your first scene, what were you feeling?
Nervous, very, very nervous. But then I just kind of did it, and it was over, and it was good.
Did you ever get to go explore the TARDIS set?
I did, and I broke the TARDIS, I think.
Which part?
I can't remember what it was, but I pulled something, and it just came out.
It sounds like the prop crew is probably glad that there's a new cast, because you guys are breaking stuff. Over here.
What was one of your favorite lines that you had?
One of my favorite lines? Oh. I can't even remember any of my lines right now.
That's okay.
I'm sure somebody can probably cite it word for word, but the Santa prayer at the beginning, I thought that was so cute. She's praying to Santa. Do you remember any of that? And the Easter Bunny, that's right, yeah.
I do remember that, I think.
Just wishing for someone to come fix a crack in the wall. Yeah. Yeah, send a policeman or something, that's right.
Yeah.
Over here?
Who's your favorite companion besides Amy Pond?
You guys keep putting caveats in it besides Amy, of course.
My favorite companion. Catherine Tate. Yeah. I love her. She is so cool.
She's not Scottish, is she?
No, she's English, I think.
I was making sure she didn't have a bias here. Over there?
Yes, do you have any advice for any young, budding actors and actresses as they think about the future for themselves?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not good for giving advice.
Sorry, I stumped you.
It's all right. Just like when I finished Doctor Who, I went into acting, but I just kept like getting turned down for a lot of stuff. But like, just keep going, just keep doing it.
Thank you.
There you go.
Over here.
Did you ever improvise anything on the show, or did anyone else improvise something and it freaked you out?
Yeah, Matt did that quite a lot. He would say something that wasn't on the script, and I'd be like, wait a minute, stop. He hasn't said the right lines.
That's got to be tough on somebody that's new
Yeah.
and young, and you're probably waiting for that line, and then all of a sudden, that's not what he's supposed to say.
I know. It was really weird.
Hello. I was just wondering, what do you think of the genre, science fiction in general, and are there other science fiction shows that you are a fan of yourself?
I think science fiction is really cool. I do. It's really cool that it has such a big fan base as well. I used to watch a show, and it was science fiction, but... I used to watch The Sarah Jane Adventures. As a kid, I loved The Sarah Jane Adventures. But yeah, I don't watch much TV anymore, if I'm honest.
And then you've done a lot of cons, you said, well, a few cons. And you've met other actors and actresses that have been in Doctor Who, not necessarily in even the new era, but in the classic era as well. Have they issued you any sort of advice along the lines, especially as far as meeting fans and talking to fans?
I don't think I've been given advice by anyone. I don't know.
Did Karen or anybody prepare you for cons before you started doing?
No. When I started getting into conventions, I didn't know what to expect. I remember I came up for my first Q&A in London, I think it was, and there's loads of people there, and I just didn't know what to say. And they were asking me questions, and I'd give like answers like, yeah, okay. And they'd say stuff like, oh, how was it working with Matt Smith? And I'd be like, it was fun. And that was it. It was like a 15-minute Q&A, I think. And they weren't very happy. So no one's really given me advice, but my family have always been like, will you stop giving one-word answers, please? And I'm like, yeah, okay.
You must have worked on that quite a bit, because I was fortunate enough to have seen you over at Gallifrey 1 in L.A. What was that, 2 years ago?
2, yeah.
And you were great at that con. You had them eating out of the palm of your hand. They loved you there. We love her here too, right, guys?
Are we on this side? Over here?
Hi. How much influence did you have on your costume?
Influence?
Yeah. Did you have any say in what went into it?
Not really. I didn't, because I was so new to it, I didn't know what was going on. If someone told me to do something, I'd do it, you know? So they were really nice. They gave me not a bad costume. I like the costume they gave me. Some of the clothes they actually let me keep. I kept some shoes that they gave me. I think that's about it, actually. I had no say in what I could wear, unfortunately.
Thank you.
You weren't horrified by your outfit, though, right? I mean, it looked like a pretty average 9-year-old girl outfit.
It wasn't too bad. It was quite comfy, actually.
Over here?
I'm back. As you know, like some fans can sometimes be like really, really crazy. Like they approach you and just explode in tears. What was the weirdest fan experience you've ever had?
Oh no, I don't know. There's been so many. People come up to me all the time and start crying, and I feel bad. I feel like I've made these people cry, but people crying and shaking, I'm just not used to it. I was at school one day, and I was just eating lunch, and some girl from first year came up to me and was like, "You're Amelia Pond, can I please get a photo with you?" And just like in the canteen hall, I had to take a photo with her, and everyone was like, and I was like, yay. So that's been quite weird having to do it in school. But
Was it weird going back to school after going on a TV show and then it airing? And I know
Yeah.
you said your friends didn't treat you any different. Did any other classmates?
my friends, I don't know, they take the mick a lot. They find very embarrassing photos of me on the internet. And yeah, they're good though. They're not jealous or anything, which is good. But I've had one experience where a friend of mine started crying because he was so jealous I got to be on Doctor Who. And he kept saying that I had ruined his dream. I'm sure he'll be on Doctor Who one day.
Back over here.
Hi. Have you ever met someone that's cosplayed as you?
What was the question? I couldn't hear.
Say again,
Have
I'm
you
sorry.
ever met someone that's cosplayed as you?
Oh. Somebody
Oh.
cosplaying as young Amy.
It's a few times I've seen people cosplay as Amelia Pond. They do great jobs of it as well. They have like the suitcase and the wee red wellies as well. So.
How surreal of an experience is that to just go?
That's me, pretty much, yeah. It's really surreal.
Over here.
Hi again. I know in the episode Let's Kill Hitler, there was the TARDIS interface, and they had young Amelia Pond. Did they actually plan that? And if they didn't, what was your feelings having? Hey, could you come back and play a TARDIS interface as like young Amelia Pond, saying you will die in 32 minutes?
I think they had planned it. It was in the script, and they asked me to come back again, and it was weird. It was like I was feeling sick that day as well, and Matt was just rolling around on the floor screaming, and I was like, "You're gonna die in 32 minutes." So yeah.
Over here.
Hi, I just was wondering, you say it's very surreal to be the center of attention, and you seem very genuine and kind of shy at times, and I was wondering, do you like being in the center of attention, or how do you feel when you're kind of put in the spotlight?
I don't know. I've never really liked being the center of attention, although my brothers and sisters, they're always saying, "Oh, Caitlin, you just love being the center of attention." I don't. I don't know. I don't think, because being an actress would mean like people give me a lot of attention. I think that's one of the reasons why I don't want to do acting when I'm older. It's really weird when people come up to you and they like know a lot about you, and you're just like, all right, okay. Like some people know things about me that I don't even know about myself. How many freckles I have, people like know things like that, and it's quite weird being the center of attention as well. So I don't know.
If it makes you feel any better, none of these people are here for you. They're here to see me.
Thank goodness.
So
I had to ask, after you said you met David, in what situation did you meet him, and was he anywhere near as crazy as Matt?
I met David in the green room of a convention, and he was walking past, and then he turned around and he went, "You're Amelia Pond, aren't you?" And I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Okay, cool." I was like, "All right, cool." And then later on that day, I actually got a photo of him. He is a lovely man. He's so nice, but I wouldn't say he's as crazy as Matt. I say Matt's just a little bit crazier.
I think we're on this side again.
Have you ever been scared on set before by the costumes and stuff?
All the time. I remember seeing the Daleks for the first time and being terrified. But one time when we were doing the Big Bang, we were in the museum. That would be my phone. We were in the museum, and they had these like penguin displays, and I was terrified of them. They're like stuffed penguins. and I was so scared of them. So yeah, that was an interesting story. But
I can see a future episode of Doctor Who now.
Yeah, with
Attack
penguins.
penguins. It'd be kind of cool. We're over here now.
Hi, I was just wondering if any of the casts were really big pranksters, and if so, what was the funniest or the best one that was pulled?
I remember hearing the story. Karen and Matt had gone for lunch, and Matt had hid in her caravan toilet. And then when Karen went into her caravan, Matt jumped out, and he had like a blowhorn type thing, and she had dropped all her food. So yeah.
Over here.
Out of all the enemies on the show, which was your favorite?
Favorite enemy.
Favorite enemy? Probably, I don't even know. I'm trying to think. My favorite enemy would probably be the Daleks. Even though they're terrifying, they're just pretty cool.
There's one right over there.
Ms. Blackwood, thank you for being here very much. Earlier you mentioned about thinking about being a veterinarian, and it's an awesome career, by the way. And I was wondering, what animals do you have, and do you still think about that?
I have a small dog called Bonnie, and she is like my life. I have like photos of her. She falls asleep on my lap on occasions. I know. My dad owns 2 rabbits and a dog as well. He's quite a big pet person. I don't know if I would like to be a vet. I think because I love animals so much, I don't know if I'd want to hurt them ever. I know it's like making them better, but if I had to put an animal down, I'd cry.
Over here.
If you had the chance to travel in the TARDIS, where and when would you go?
Oh, I don't know. If I could go anywhere, oh no, I'd probably go back. I don't know, there's so much I could do, and I don't know where I'd go.
Go back and get some of the missing episodes of Doctor Who for
Yes.
us.
Yes, I would go back and do exactly that.
Over here.
Yes, I was just wondering, what is your favorite aspect / technology that is shown in Doctor Who? You know, like the TARDIS, or there's also the sonic screwdriver, some of the other random stuff that pops up, and you're like, oh, hey, that's cool.
The TARDIS is pretty cool. It's cool how it can go places. But I think the sonic screwdriver is probably my favorite thing.
Over here.
You're talking about fans, and I was just wondering, is there anybody that you've fangirled over? Like, favorite actor, like anybody you would just completely just pee yourself in front of, probably?
It's happened so many times. There's been, I don't know if you guys know her, but if you've watched The Hunger Games, the little girl Rue was at one of the conventions I was at, and I just fangirled. I couldn't go over and speak to her. I had to get someone to come over and help me get an autograph with her because I was like too shy. But yeah, I fangirled over her.
I think we're on this side now.
Amy, how does it feel like to date Rory, who's 2,000 years older than you?
What was, I can't hear.
One more time, sorry.
Amy, how does it feel to date Rory, that's 2,000 years older than you?
I think he's in character.
Oh.
Oh, yep, the character.
Good.
What's Arthur Darvill like? Is he
Oh,
nice guy?
he's lovely. He's really lovely.
think he was at Gallifrey last year. Or was that 2 years ago? Yeah, last year. And like every day he wore a cat shirt. And I saw that and I thought, yeah, that really seems like him. He seems like that kind of person.
He commented on it at the end of the convention that he realized he had worn cat shirts, and he says, I didn't plan this. I just happened to pack and then realized everything's got cats on it.
Oh, he's so nice.
Let's quickly talk a little bit about Karen. I mean, what have you guys done? I mean, you guys meet for the first time after she recommends you. I imagine you're not just cousins, but I imagine you became fast friends as well.
Definitely, yeah. We Oh no!
I think there's somebody in here you might know.
Oh, get out of here. We're not friends.
You're not friends?
Anymore.
I don't think her mic's on. Oh, come up here real quick.
Hello? Oh my god, I'm totally crushed this. Oh. Okay, 1 second.
Ladies and gentlemen, Karen Gillan.
Hello. I came in to see what you were saying about me. Hi, this is exciting. Don't really know why I've come up here.
We're all spontaneous here.
Yeah, why not?
Thanks for coming up.
Thanks for having me. Oh my god, there's a Phil Dalek. Wow.
Well, I asked her about you. You tell me a little bit about Caitlin. What?
Caitlin is great to work with. It was very exciting for me to have my cousin in Doctor Who. It was really fun. And she also did such a good job at making everyone fall in love with my character, our character. So thanks for that.
You're welcome.
Anytime. Yeah.
Do you guys get to hang out much? Besides conventions, when you're together, do you guys get to hang out much now
It's
back home?
difficult because you're still in Scotland.
I'm in Scotland.
I am in Los Angeles. But we actually, our families, the houses are about sort of 30 seconds away from each other. We just have to cross a field, so it's easy to go up and visit when I'm home.
And are you enjoying Kansas City so far?
It's great. I hear you have really good barbecue here. Wow, you big barbecue fans.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll probably have to do that at some point.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I think we got a couple more minutes. Can we take a couple more questions real quick? Is that okay? Over here.
Caitlin, this isn't meant to sound super like stalker-esque, but I know you were 9 in Doctor Who whenever you played. How old are you now?
I'm 14 now, and I'm 15 in June.
What the hell?
I know.
I don't understand. You're still 9 in my head.
Karen's having a birthday party for you, by the way, I heard.
What? Thank you for that.
Spoilers.
Over here real quick.
Is there anything about the set that ever was like out of place or bothered you?
What was the question?
One more time, real quick, sorry.
Was there anything in the Doctor Who set that was out of place or bothered you?
Oh, something on the set that might have been out of place or bothered you.
Bothered you?
Bothered me?
Did you, I don't know, how much ice cream did you eat? Did that bother you?
Oh no, I ate a lot of ice cream and that was
That
alright.
wouldn't have bothered you though, I don't think. That's a tough
I
question.
gotta ask, is it when in the 11th hour and the 11th Doctor is saying, "Fry something, you're Scottish," is that a little offensive, or is that just all in fun?
Well, it's not offensive if it's written by a Scottish person.
Oh, I guess that's true. Stephen writes it, it's okay.
Yeah.
Let's go over here.
Out of all your Comic-Con things and things that you've gone to, which one is your favorite?
This one.
Good answer. Over here.
I'm back again. I was just wondering, when you two met, on the set of Doctor Who, what was everyone watching you, wondering, oh, their family, they're meeting right here, you've never met each other? Was that a big thing, or was it just kind of oh, hi?
Well, actually, we technically met at the read-through, at the table read for the 11th hour. So we were sitting, and it was a really weird way to meet because we were all sitting around a table, and everyone was aware that it was going to be the most scrutinized piece of television anyone would make in the room. So we were like, and then we were meeting for the first time, which was like a really weird way to meet your own cousin. And then you started reading, and it was really exciting.
What's that like? They say, we're looking for somebody to play a young version of you. Do you say, oh, I've got the perfect person? Is that how it comes about?
Yeah, that's kind of exactly what... Well, no, it actually started because they were doing auditions all over Scotland looking for this little girl. And they were like, we can't find her. We just can't find this girl. And I was like, oh, well, I have this cousin who looks really like me. And she's about the right age and has the right accent and everything. And they were like, oh, my God, please, can we audition her? We really want to see what she's like. And then the director told me that she was the only little girl out of anyone in Scotland that put her hands on her hips in the audition, and she was just full of attitude. And they were like, this is perfect for the character. And I was like, yes. So that's how it came about.
Did you then see her performance and then have to change what you were going to do later because she did something so good?
Yeah, basically molded it around her brilliant performance, essentially. It's true. But it wasn't easy. I mean, they did put you through like 3 auditions, was it? Or 2?
3.
3. So that, they didn't just hand it to her for
She
sure.
wasn't
She
shoo-in,
earned it, yeah.
I forgot which side. We'll go over here.
Hi, this is a random question, but are you a fan of any superheroes? And if you are, which ones?
Superheroes. I don't know.
I like Spider-Man.
I know a certain supervillain that you probably could say you like.
Do you even know the name of it? Nebula.
Oh, Nebula.
Good answer.
Thanks.
Good answer.
Yeah. Great choices. Good taste.
The actress that plays her, brilliant. Over here now.
Hi, I'm back again just because you two are together now. This question is kind of for both of you. After you two met on set and sort of got to know each other better, even though you're family and you had never met, what do you do in your free time together? Like, what do you do together now?
I feel like whenever I'm home in Scotland, I walk across the field to your house, and then I just sort of loiter for hours. Just in the dining room. Yeah, we had a Christmas, like 2 Christmases ago or something, in the house. I remember just being there all day. I wouldn't go home.
Over here.
Was it fun on Doctor Who?
Yeah.
Yep. It was.
Yeah.
I asked this question to Caitlin, but now that Karen's here, what is the weirdest fan experience you've ever had? Like, just how a fan has reacted to you?
Oh, this isn't weird so much as it is just really cool, but I feel like I've been part of many a proposal, which is really weird because I'm sort of this third wheel that's just there, like, congratulations. But it's also really cool, I mean, to be part of a monumental bit of someone's life. But yeah, that's a weird sensation to just be present for everyone's proposals.
We're on this side now.
A TARDIS.
Caitlin, I saw something on the internet that said that when you were doing the fish fingers and custard scene with Matt in the 11th hour, that Matt didn't like fish fingers and custard, so you messed up continuously so he just had to eat it. Is that true?
Yes. I was eating ice cream, so it was all right.
All right, I think we've got time for one more question. Sorry, over here.
What's your favorite episode that you recorded in Doctor Who?
What's your favorite episode that we watched in Doctor Who?
Say again, real quick.
Recorded.
What's your favorite episode that you played in Doctor Who? Like, which one that you...
Which episode was your favorite that you were in?
Well, for me, it was the 11th hour. It always will be. Just because I think that's such a magical, special episode. And I think Caitlin did such a good job in introducing this character. And those are my favorite scenes that my character was involved in, and I wasn't in them. So that was cool, though.
All right, very good. Well, thank you both very much for joining us.
Sorry,
and
Don't leave, everybody. We got a surprise here. Don't leave yet. You're going to be part of history again because we do this every time. We got to take a selfie with the guests on stage with all you in it.
Oh, that's right. All right, this became
y'all
a tradition last year. So real quick, you're all in the background, so smile, squeeze in, okay? All right, so turn around so the audience is behind us. Keith, you're not in there. Someone's not smiling in the back. All right, we got it. Very good. Thank you very much. Karen Gillan and Caitlin Blackwood, Amy Pons. Thank you, everybody.
You have been listening to Traveling the Vortex. Doctor Who and all of its associated programs are owned and trademarked by the BBC. No infringement is intended or implied.